the Interstellar Mecha cook. Hey! Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction, so don't try any techniques you hear here in real life. Your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 426, Fighting and Fighting. After the fire, everyone rested for a while before returning to the ship. Yi Hongwen, mindful of everyone's hard work throughout the day, delayed the cafeteria's closing time, allowing the team members to enjoy a hot meal instead of the stagnant nutrient solution. After wolfing down their lunch, everyone retired to rest, but Yi Hongwen wasn't treated as well. He still had to report the cause and consequences of the fire to the military. Then, he received unpleasant news: the military was on its way. The incoming personnel were the evaluators for this mission. To them, a mistake in the Energy Star assessment was a blunder, a major one at that, impacting their year-end performance and bonuses. Even with the video and documentation, they refused to believe it and decided to come and see for themselves. Those who made it to the evaluation team were all skilled and powerful mecha pilots, with ample financial resources. A small bonus deduction was a minor concern, but failing the assessment was the real deal. It was a matter of humiliation. As for why Yi Hongwen felt unhappy, it was because he had encountered the assessment team members, all of whom were arrogant and self-righteous. They always failed to see their place, and even pointed fingers and made inappropriate comments when they entered other people's territory. The assessment team, using a faster, smaller warship, had set out yesterday, arriving at Energy Star a little after 4 p.m. Upon boarding the Shenyu, they immediately started making offensive remarks. "I'm Miu, the lead assessor for this mission. I'm here to guide you on the reconnaissance mission, so you don't misjudge the mission's difficulty. By the way, I'm a level 6 mecha pilot." The speaker was a middle-aged man with a full beard, his features blurred. His eyes were narrowed, as if he hadn't woken up yet. Gu Qingheng, the receptionist, politely said, "Thank you, Captain, and all the assessors for your hard work in coming here from so far away. We've prepared hot meals. Please enjoy some before you go back to rest." It was almost 5 o'clock, and he couldn't just send them out for a reassessment, much as he wanted to. "Okay," Miu and the others said as if it was a matter of course, and followed Gu Qingheng up to the small private room on the 3rd floor. The evaluation team consisted of 8 members, all around 50 years old. They were all experienced members of the 5th Mecha Division, selected from various fleets. They were outstanding in both combat effectiveness and knowledge. After they sat down around the round table, Shenyu came in to serve the dishes. Before the dishes were even served, Miu asked Yi Hongwen, "Why didn't I see your captain coming?" Gu Qingheng frowned. These evaluators must have been flattered to the point of being carried away. They even wanted to be greeted and entertained by the captain of a ship. His presence was already a great honor. Yi Bingshan had originally intended to have Wen Zixi come forward, but he volunteered to take over because he was afraid of being too negligent. Despite his thoughts, he didn't say these words directly. Instead, he said tactfully, "The captain is busy and may be discussing something with someone in the captain's room." The evaluation team members' expressions darkened slightly upon hearing this. Fortunately, they had all experienced big events, and no one would really ask for accusations over such a small matter. As the dishes were laid out, they began to eat in a friendly manner. The military's food was also quite good, with a dedicated chef. Shen Yi's dishes were naturally inferior. Miu and the others couldn't help but frown as soon as they started eating. They had heard that Shen Yu had a skilled cook. If it was during a mission, there would be no help, but now they were on Shen Yu's main ship, and they had a skilled cook. To treat them with such food was simply to show their disregard. After a few reluctant bites, someone finally lost their patience and said, "Deputy Captain Gu, I heard your fleet hired a chef, but his cooking skills don't seem very good. Isn't the food a bit ordinary?" Gu Qingheng was slightly startled. "No, I don't know where you heard this rumor from, but Shen Yu has always used the housekeeping robot." Miu felt annoyed and said with a fake laugh, "Haha, he's just a chef. Deputy Captain Gu, you don't always hide it, right? When I was at the military headquarters, I heard that 5 marshals all praised the delicious food on your ship." Now even a fool would understand who they were talking about. The person who prepared the food for the marshals was naturally Lin Miaomiao, but although she was skilled, she was not a cook. The evaluation team did not have the qualifications to let her cook for them herself. Gu Qingheng was disdainful in his heart, but his face remained calm. Captain Z, you misunderstood. Shen Yu does have a female soldier who cooks well, but she is not a cook. There are some special reasons for entertaining the marshals. Female soldier? Not a cook? Xingyu was a little surprised. No, Gu Qingheng answered with certainty. Several assessors exchanged glances and communicated silently. Finally, the man who had just started the attack said, Captain Gu, to be honest, we are not used to the food cooked by robots. While we reevaluate the mission, can we let that female soldier? He didn't finish his words, but the meaning was very clear. Gu Qingheng naturally understood. He said with a smile, I'm sorry, I'm afraid we can't agree to this. After fighting the blood-sucking ants for several hours today, and then putting out a fire, our team members are all tired. The anger in Xingyu's heart burst out. He thought he had given enough face today and didn't despise their neglect. Who knew that Shen Yu's people would go further and refuse to agree to even a small request? Okay, it looks like we can't handle Shen Yu's job. Brothers, come back with me and drink the nutrient solution. The other evaluators stood up, expressing their displeasure with their actions. After all, mission evaluators aren't just responsible for assessing mission difficulty, they're also responsible for assigning missions to various fleets. If they offend them, they'll be out of luck with those easy missions and high rewards in the future. Unfortunately, they miscalculated this time. Gu Qingheng wasn't frightened at all. Instead, he said casually, don't get excited, everyone. I really can't agree to this. If you really need it, I can talk to the captain and ask him to agree to let his fiancée serve as your cook for a few days. The few who were about to leave froze. They weren't uninformed fools. They knew about the relationship between Captain Shen Yu and Captain King Long, but they didn't have the nerve to ask that person's daughter-in-law to serve as their cook. But the words had already been spoken, and they couldn't bring themselves to admit their mistake. For a moment, they didn't know whether to leave or not, and they were at a loss. Fortunately, Gu Qingheng didn't really want to fall out with these people or make enemies for Shen Yu. Seeing that they were embarrassed, he just admired them silently for a while, and then greeted them as if nothing had happened. Captain Z, the joke has been made. Let's continue with the welcoming banquet. If the captain knew that I scared the guests away, he would punish me to wash dishes in the kitchen. Xingyu and others immediately sat back in their seats after getting the excuse, and laughed heartily. Deputy Captain Gu really loves to joke, so they picked up their chopsticks and started eating. They no longer had the sense of superiority when they first arrived. After the meal, both the host and the guests were very happy. Chapter 427 Warning. Lin Miaomiao was naturally unaware of the incident that occurred while Gu Qingheng was meeting the assessors. After filling her stomach, she returned to her room to rest. She slept soundly, sleeping through the night until the next morning, not even noticing when Yi Hongwen returned. The day after the blood-sucking ant extermination, Lin Miaomiao rushed to the manicure room early in the morning. There had been so many people needing mech repairs the previous day that she didn't bother lining up, but she couldn't afford to not have her mech repaired, so she chose a time when it was least crowded. Arriving at the manicure room, it was indeed deserted. Only a few manicurists were still hard at work, apparently having worked all night. Good morning, little sister, Lin Xianhao yawned, looking up. His face was itched with fatigue, his hair a mess like a bird's nest, and there was something suspicious in the corner of his eye. Good morning, big brother, aren't you guys going to rest yet? Lin Miaomiao asked, hesitant about whether to bring out the mechas now, seeing how exhausted they all looked. Fix it first, then go eat and sleep. There aren't many left anyway. Lin Xianhao scratched his head and grinned at his sister. I was wondering why you haven't sent Aoksu yet? Are you too lazy to wait in line with them? The eldest Lin brother understood his sister's personality quite well. Although it was a question, it was affirmative, and Lin Miaomiao didn't deny it. It's troublesome to have too many people. It's better to wait. I don't need the mecha today anyway. Even if I need to go out, I have a spare mecha. The spare mecha she was talking about was not one of those stupid fleet mechas, but a level 4 mecha that the eldest Lin brother had built himself as a gift for his sister with his pocket money. Lin Xianhao's eyes lit up instantly. Yes, he had forgotten about such a thing. Then put Aoksu aside. I'll fix it for you when I wake up. Lin Miaomiao was depressed. This brother was really rude, but never mind. After all, she meant it when she said she was not in a hurry. After taking out Aoksu and placing it on the open space, Lin Miaomiao turned around to prepare for breakfast, but ran into Ren Jiaojiao who had just walked in. So she greeted her and asked curiously, "Sister-in-law, you came so early, aren't you here to repair the mecha?" Ren Jiaojiao nodded, "I'm here to repair the mecha, and by the way, I'll bring some breakfast to your brother and the others. I don't know when they will finish repairing it. It would be bad if they get sick from hunger." "Sister-in-law, you think too much? We have nutrient solution, so they won't starve to death." Lin Miaomiao disagreed. Ren Jiaojiao had the same idea as her, but it was a pity. "Your brother doesn't like to drink nutrient solution, so I asked me to bring him food when I'm free, so, sister-in-law, you can't do this," Lin Miaomiao said righteously. "Men can't be spoiled. If you spoil them too much, they will easily develop bad habits. You have to be careful." Although her eldest brother benefited from it, the upright cook still said some truth about helping the right and not the relative. "What did you say, little sister? Is there anyone like you who can't stand seeing your big brother doing well?" Lin Xianhao was furious when he heard that. This was his biological sister, and she actually said such words in front of him. She didn't even take him seriously. Lin Miaomiao laughed dryly. "No, I didn't say anything. I was just talking casually. You guys chat, I'm going to eat." Courage is like a cloud, and justice also depends on the situation. The angry big brother can't be messed with. She is a weak woman and can't withstand the big brother's fist. The weak woman ran out of the manicure room as if escaping, patted her chest and muttered to herself, "Ever since he got together with my sister-in-law, my big brother's temper has gone up. He can't even take a joke. I guess I have to be careful in the future." She walked briskly to the restaurant on the second floor. At this time, there were already quite a few people having breakfast. Lin Miaomiao was about to pick up the food when she found that her boyfriend was sitting not far away and waving at her. There were several strangers at the same table with him. She walked over to sit down next to Yi Hongwen, and soon a breakfast appeared in front of her. Lin Miaomiao looked up and curled her lips at him. "Thank you, bossy, you're yelling nonsense again," Yi Hongwen said helplessly. "I wonder when I'll hear you call me by my name properly." Lin Miaomiao wrinkled her nose and buried her head in her breakfast. They had discussed this issue many times, but her answer hadn't changed. Judging by the past 2 years, it seemed unlikely. Calling him Yi Hongwen sounded too unfamiliar, and simply Hongwen felt awkward, so she casually called him Bossy or Captain Yi. When she was angry or nervous, she would also use his full name. The captain naturally had many objections to this and protested several times, but to no avail. As his girlfriend played dead, Yi Hongwen could only shake his head helplessly, not continuing the topic she had discussed so many times. He picked up a tea egg and slowly peeled it. When he was done, he offered the shelled egg to her mouth. Lin Miaomiao took a bite without hesitation, ignoring the stranger's scrutiny and saying, "Thank you. I knew you were the best to me." The public display of affection between these icy couples was quite overwhelming. Zhu, sitting across from them, felt a bitter taste in his mouth and an itchy itch in his heart, like being scratched by a cat. Ahem, Zimu coughed softly, trying to remind Yi Hongwen of their presence, but it was no use. Yi Hongwen was busy helping his girlfriend with eggs and didn't bother to pay attention to these unfamiliar tablements, and Lin Miaomiao was even less impressed. The few who were left out were a little embarrassed, and Zimu had no choice but to ask, "Captain Yi, who is this?" It was a knowing question. Pink bubbles surrounded the two of them, and the others in the restaurant were no strangers to it. Combined with Gu Qinghang's revelation yesterday, they all guessed that this seemingly icy female soldier was Yi Hongwen's fiancée. Although Zimu knew about it, he didn't directly name her. Instead, he asked Yi Hongwen to help introduce her. Speaking of which, this little iceberg is quite good looking. If her expression was softer, she would be even more beautiful. "Captain Z, she is my fiancée," Yi Hongwen said rudely. "She is very shy. Please don't stare at her too much." "Thank you." Zimu's face instantly flushed with anger. It was a good thing he had a full beard, otherwise he would have lost his composure in front of everyone. She was just a pretty female mecha pilot. What was wrong with taking a few glances? He actually warned him in such a tone. If it weren't for Yi's Henayang's face, he would definitely teach this arrogant brat a lesson. Unfortunately, there is no if. Yi Hongwen not only has a background, but also strength. No matter how angry Zimu is, he dare not turn against her easily. He can only suppress the anger in his heart and say jokingly, "Beauty is fascinating. I am just an ordinary person. It is normal for me to be stunned." "Captain Yi, don't mind it." Yi Hongwen didn't buy it. "I'm sorry, I care a lot. She is my woman. Except for me, no one can look at her with lustful eyes, otherwise they will be my enemy." Zimu couldn't make it up anymore. He hurriedly finished his breakfast and left. Chapter 428 Reassessment Mission. Shortly after breakfast, Zimu approached Gu Qingheng with a stern face. "Your fleet says the Energy Star's danger level should be classified as high. We're here to reassess the mission's difficulty. I hope you'll cooperate." Gu Qingheng smiled faintly, his tone soft but firm. "The assessment should be the responsibility of the assessment team. As the fleet receiving the mission, Shen Yu should avoid suspicion, so as not to affect your judgment." Zimu was practically furious. He had been an assessor for so many years, and except for the initial trepidation for fear of making mistakes, everything had gone smoothly. No fleet dared to give him a hard time, even Ren Chengning was polite. But when it came to Shen Yu, he was repeatedly frustrated. Repeatedly being slapped in the face, even the best of self-control could no longer contain it. "Vice Captain Gu," Zimu threatened through gritted teeth, "the reassessment isn't just our responsibility. Don't forget that your fleet is still stranded here. You can't start work until the reassessment results are out." Gu Qingheng raised an eyebrow. It seemed they had truly pushed him to the limit, forcing him to resort to such shameless threats. Thinking that they were all part of the same system, it was best not to make a big fuss about it, so he reluctantly agreed. However, even if he agreed, Shen Yu would still have the final say on how to cooperate, lest someone harbor unsavory intentions, such as forcing Shen Yu's team to run around exploring while they sat on the ship watching and making comments. This wasn't Gu Qingheng's petty intentions. Zimu's words hinted at this, so he had no choice but to speak first. "We've roughly explored a few areas on the first day. There are some more dangerous areas that you, Captain Z, need to investigate. Our captain will personally lead the way." Zimu and the others had no chance to object. The matter was settled. For the assessment team, the reassessment mission wasn't a pressing matter. They could crack some sunflower seeds and hang out for a while, then head out after 10 o'clock and return for lunch at 11. Unfortunately, the Shen Yu team was very proactive. Just as Gu Qingheng had reached an agreement with the assessment team, Yi Hongwen appeared at the lounge entrance with Lin Miaomiao. "Captain Z, sooner rather than later, we should set off," Yi Hongwen said coldly. The cold air choked Zimu's protests, and he could only lead his men toward the ship's gate. Only when they reached the gate and it was time to board the mecha and depart did he find a chance to speak. "Captain Yi, we're going out for the assessment, but we're in danger. Isn't it a good idea to take your fiancée with you?" It turned out that after the Black Lotus was extracted, Yi Hongwen had taken Lin Miaomiao with him, intending to take her out with him. "It's okay. She's with me. She'll be safe," Yi Hongwen said confidently. Zimu choked. He wasn't concerned about the female soldier's safety, but rather about the possibility that having more people in the mecha cabin would hinder Yi Hongwen's performance if danger truly arose. It wouldn't be nice to be so blunt, so he could only watch, daring not to offer any further opinions. He was furious, but he couldn't direct it at the leader. He could only turn back and scold the team members. "Why are you still dawdling? Get in the mechas. It's already 9 o'clock. The assessment team members looked at each other in bewilderment. What was wrong with the team leader? He'd clearly said there was no rush, yet now he was pushing them. Had he taken a stab? Regardless, under Yi Hongwen's cold shoulder, the reluctant assessment team followed him eastward. Initially, there was no danger. After flying 100 miles, they encountered only a few low-level alien beasts, rarely even fourth-level ones. Under Yi Hongwen's deliberate guidance, the assessment team dispatched any alien beasts they encountered, their carcasses being picked up by the clueless robots following behind. Zimu and his companions felt increasingly uneasy as they walked. They had never encountered so many exotic beasts before, but it was as if they had suddenly appeared. The more they looked, the more uneasy they became, and they didn't care about being treated as thugs. When they encountered a flock of level 5 three-headed firebirds, they panicked. While dozens of level 5 exotic beasts couldn't harm the assessment team, who were at least level 5 mecha masters, it meant that their assessment was indeed wrong. On the assessment team's team chat, Several members were discussing matters. Zhu said irritably, "This mistake is outrageous. If we report it, we're not only going to fail the year-end assessment, we might even have to re-verify our evaluators. Passing the year-end assessment would only result in a loss of face and a demerit, but re-verification was a major event. If they weren't careful, their years of hard work would be wasted." Someone frantically asked, "Brother Miu, what should we do? I don't want to lose my evaluator qualification. If I go back like this, how can I stand up in my family?" The person who spoke was Yan Sehan, an illegitimate child who only returned to his family after his mother's death. Since returning home, he's grown old and ostracized by his siblings. Fortunately, he's a mecha pilot, and after joining the fleet, he was diligent and was selected to join the evaluation team. His family finally took a new look at him and treated him with more than a little warmth and courtesy. Tianzihan was a smart man, knowing that reaching level 5 mecha pilot was a testament to his hard work, and that the next step was uncertain. To make his life easier, he became Zimu's lackey. "Why rush? Things aren't that serious yet," Zimu angrily scolded. "Why are you so stupid? If there's any danger, we'll just put it out. Even if the evaluation is wrong, we'll make it right." Of the 8 people on the evaluation team, 5 were level 6 mecha pilots, a source of pride. Even in the largest fleets, the number of level 6 pilots rarely exceeds double digits. "Don't we have Captain Yi and the other 2 here? Will he let us act like this?" Tianzihan was very skeptical. Zhu smiled grimly. "If they're willing to cooperate, that's fine. But if they're not, with so many level 5 alien beasts, plus he's bringing a burden that will hinder his performance, it wouldn't be surprising if something unexpected happened." The members of the assessment team gasped. Yi Hongwen had a powerful background. If something happened here, they would probably be involved. "That's not good," another level 5 mecha master stammered. "It would be fine if they couldn't find out, but if they did, they would be doomed. What's there to be afraid of? The timid will starve to death, and the bold will die of gluttony," Zimu snorted. "Besides, things haven't come to that point yet. If it's just a level 5 alien beast, it wouldn't be a big deal if we kill them all." This statement was agreed by the other 4 level 6 mecha masters. The plan now was to first eliminate any level 5 alien beasts they encountered. The 8 people immediately informed Yi Hongwen and started fighting. They did not take the dozens of 5th level 3-headed firebirds seriously. They just had to be careful not to let the firebirds' special powers burn the forest and make a big noise. Chapter 429, Each has his own thoughts. Yi Hongwen had no idea what Zimu and the others were discussing privately, and he certainly wouldn't stop them from eliminating the 3-headed firebird. Instead, Lin Miaomiao suggested recording a video. "It's good to have some evidence. It seems their leader isn't a good person. Don't let them eliminate the alien beast and then accuse us of lying about military intelligence." The mecha's surveillance system had records, but they were voluminous, making searching them time-consuming. Furthermore, the mecha's intelligence was limited in size, so unless specifically instructed, the mecha's intelligence would delete irrelevant records to prevent a crash. "You said to record it, then. It's certainly convenient this way," Yi Hongwen agreed. Even if she hadn't said anything, he would have retrieved the records and captured the video to upload to the military headquarters after returning. The level 5 3-headed firebird was quite skilled at playing with fire, with all 3 heads simultaneously spitting flames. The 8 assessors could easily have dodged it, but they didn't dare, fearing sparks from the trees and grass would spark a blaze. They also had to figure out how to kill the alien beast, leaving them in a state of panic. Although Zimu harbored evil intentions, he wasn't reckless. Seeing Yi Hongwen standing idly by, watching the show, he was ready to drag him into it. There was no point exhausting himself and then giving others the chance to watch. Having made up his mind, he began to formulate his argument. He had to silence the arrogant young man and make him willingly join the fight. Even if he had to kill him, he had to squeeze out any remaining value. "Captain Yi, no matter what, you've accepted this mission. The negative impact caused by our mistakes is real, and we're willing to make amends. How about this, we work together to eliminate these 5th-level monsters. The credit will go to Shenyu, as an apology from our assessment team." Although Yi Hongwen wasn't familiar with Zimu, he had inquired about him and knew that he was a formidable force even among 6th-level mecha operators. He was headstrong, ruthless, and a master of backstabbing. He wouldn't believe his words. However, after the mission was reassessed, the difficulty would undoubtedly increase by several stars. Needless to say, the military would also dispatch other fleets to assist or take over. If the assessment team could lower the mission's difficulty, the supporting fleet wouldn't be significantly more powerful than Shen Yu's. Shen Yu had expended considerable manpower and resources on this mission. They couldn't let other fleets take all the credit, leaving everyone suffering in vain. Having made up his mind, Yi Hongwen asked Lin Miaomiao to take a seat. I'll help eliminate these three-headed birds first. Send a text to Gu Qingheng, asking Liu Yifei, Luo Cheng, and the others to arrive with all their level 5 mecha operators. While the assessment team has several level 6 mecha operators present, we should eliminate all the mid and high-level monsters on the energy star. This attitude seemed to be treating the assessment team as thugs. Lin Miaomiao felt amused, but she swiftly edited the text and sent it out, attaching the coordinates. After sending the text, Lin Miaomiao said sternly, I don't like that Z guy. He has those shifty eyes and isn't honest at all. Don't help him. If she could, she'd have dug Z Mu's eyes out. Those eyes were so annoying. Even after being warned, he kept lingering over her, especially her chest, looking at her over and over again. It was almost blatant, and it really displeased her. Okay, I won't help him. Yi Hongwen also disliked Z Mu's behavior, otherwise he wouldn't have treated the assessment team so coldly. He readily agreed, earning a kiss of gratitude from his girlfriend, and then he felt elated. Most of the three-headed birds had already been killed, and Yi Hongwen joined the battlefield without hesitation. He didn't have much affection for these overthinking assessors, so he didn't take on too much responsibility. He simply wandered around the battlefield, putting out fires and stabbing any three-headed birds that were cornered. Zhu Yu was practically vomiting blood when he saw this. The captain of a ship was actually resorting to a rogue, exploitative tactic. Wasn't he ashamed? Could he have some shame? The rest of the evaluation team naturally noticed as well, and then a famous 6th-level mecha master remarked, Captain Yi is a true genius mecha master, possessing both strength and strategic prowess. No wonder he became captain at such a young age. He's bound to have a bright future. His words suggested a deep admiration for Yi Hongwen, indirectly expressing his disapproval of Z Mu's suggestion to silence him. Z Mu's jealousy of Yi Hongwen was easy to discern. He was simply annoyed by Yi Hongwen's young status as a 6th-level mecha master. Furthermore, Yi Hongwen's powerful background meant he didn't treat the evaluation team any differently, treating them with common courtesy. Someone used to being flattered naturally found this unacceptable. The other 4 level 6 mecha masters were also initially furious and almost agreed with their leader's proposal. But as they calmed down, they realized how ridiculous they were. Each fleet was brimming with talent. If one was eliminated, there were still others. Moreover, they couldn't afford the consequences of the matter being exposed. Zhu Yu gritted his teeth. Are you scared? The evaluation team consisted of only 8 members. Of the 3 level 5 mecha masters, only Bian Seihan was considered his trusted advisor. The remaining 2 were fence-sitters. If the other level 6 mecha masters united, he would be powerless. How could that be? We're all Federation soldiers. We can't just kill each other over trivial matters, the 4 level 6 mecha masters said. Even amidst their internal disagreements, the evaluation team didn't forget the 3-headed firebirds. While engaging in verbal battles, they eliminated the alien beasts. Then, Liu Yifei and the others arrived, completely nipping Z Mu's idea in the bud. The corpse of the 3-headed firebird was naturally picked up by the dumb robot. These birds are large and tender, making them a delicious delicacy for a skilled cook. Such exotic beasts are rare, and Z Mu, who was slow to collect them, hinted, Captain Yi is so thoughtful. He even brought battlefield cleanup robots, saving us the trouble. I wonder if the housekeeping robots can cook a delicious firebird meal. Yi Hongwen replied indifferently, Captain Z, you've fought hard. I certainly can't add to your workload. As for the delicacy, he chose to ignore it. It was just some firebird meat, and Z Mu didn't have the nerve to bring it up. Captain Yi once again proved his impudence, and Captain Z retreated. Boss, Liu Yifei rushed over. You didn't even call us for the fight? Luckily I noticed it while watching the surveillance footage, otherwise it would have been a lot less fun. This was a perfect excuse for their appearance. Even if the evaluation team had opinions, they had nothing to say. Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but praise him on the main channel. Captain Liu, you've done a good job. Keep up the good work and make that Z guy speechless. Liu Yifei was bewildered. What did the little cook mean by this? She was telling the truth, so how could she be fooling around? Oh, girls are so hard to understand. Chapter 436 Level Violent Earth Bear. The addition of Liu Yifei and the others swelled the expedition, forcing Zimu to put aside his thoughts and focus on the exploration. If something couldn't be done, then give up for now. Amidst the rolling primeval forest, 20 or 30 mechas prowled, searching for mid to high-level beasts. Wherever they passed, lower-level beasts fled, while those of level 5 and above were slain on the spot. Of course, in all their time out there, the highest level beast they'd encountered was only level 5, no level 6 had appeared. This gave Zimu hope. If only level 5 beasts. Too much hope leads to more disappointment. Reality soon dealt him a resounding blow. They encountered 3 violent earth bears, 2 large and 1 small level 6 beasts. With so many level 6 mecha masters present, it wasn't necessary for everyone to take action against a family of 3. The Shenyu group sat back, watching and discussing the situation. It's a family of 3, right? Lin Miaomiao glanced at the little tyrannosaur. Well, it wasn't exactly small, standing 2 meters tall and half a meter wide, with broad arms and a round waist, revealing its considerable strength. The panda is still prettier. She remembered the panda captured on Yellow Star. She wondered if the 2 later captured pandas were its parents. It seemed they were now housed in the Shaoyin Star Zoo. She'd take Lin Xiaodi there when she got back. Little cook, you're exaggerating. Pandas are state-protected animals, and tyrannosaurs are incredibly dangerous. How can they be compared? Liu Yifei complained. Why not? I'm only comparing appearances, not their species. Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes. Can you deny that the panda is prettier? Liu Yifei choked. Of course he couldn't deny it. Pandas were chubby without looking ferocious. Their black and white fur and dark circles under their eyes made them incredibly adorable. Yi Hongwen tilted his head and chuckled. Just talk, no need to roll your eyes. He can't see it now. Oh, then I'll show it to him back on the ship. Lin Miaomiao readily put away her eye roll and returned to her expressionless and cold demeanor. I really can't do anything about you. Yi Hongwen shook his head helplessly, his face full of doting. Liu Yifei got furious. If you want to show your affection, can you please turn off the channel? Are you trying to bully us single guys in various ways? The single guys echoed. People should be honest. Even the boss should consider the feelings of his subordinates. Lin Miaomiao laughed. Why are there so many single guys in the fleet? Is it possible that there are not many married or single guys in Shenyu? The single guys' faces were filled with tears of sadness when talking about this. Shenyu used to be a battlefield sweeper. Girls and boys looked down on Shenyu team members, so those old bachelors changed their careers in order to get married. The ones left were fresh graduates, who were of course single. Even if there were non-single ones who joined the fleet, they would be abandoned after a long time. Then why not just split it up internally? We have a lot of people in the fleet anyway. Lin Miaomiao was puzzled. Could it be that no one's attracted to anyone? The singles said indignantly. There were some who were attracted to each other before, but some old bachelors couldn't stand seeing others succeed and always put obstacles in their way. In the end, they saw through each other. So naturally, it didn't work out. Lin Miaomiao was speechless and choked. This was such a sad story. The consequences of a group of singles fighting each other were truly serious. But things will get better in the future. Our fleet is strong. I have a feeling we'll be able to recruit a lot of new recruits this year. Luo Chang felt hope was within reach. Everyone agreed. With so many new recruits joining, it wouldn't be easy for veterans and seniors to take advantage of their guidance to hook up with a girlfriend or boyfriend. Thank you, boss. You gave me hope and set an example for others to do the same, Liu Yifei shouted playfully. Thank you, boss. You gave me hope and set an example for others to do the same, the singles echoed loudly. Lin Miaomiao, Yi Bingshan is almost as old as you, and everyone's pinning their hopes of finding a partner on him? Yi Hongwen's stern face cracked. He curled his lips and said ruthlessly, the fleet's funds are all used for construction. I think it's best not to recruit new members this year, so as not to overtrain them. A chorus of wails suddenly filled the main channel, everyone accusing Captain Yi of being heartless, unreasonable, a well-fed man who doesn't know the hunger of the hungry, only concerned with his own pleasure. Lin Miaomiao, however, paid no more attention to the group of singles with green eyes. She noticed that the family of the Earth Bears had lost a member. The largest one lay dead on the ground, while the smaller ones, radiating a fierce aura, roared and attacked the surrounding mechas. The earth bear lashed out with its claws, causing the ground around it to tumble. It transformed into giant snakes and charged towards its opponent. The little bears protecting it tried to rush out to help, but were swatted back. Zunyu defeated the ochre-colored giant snake with a single sword strike. Before the next wave of attacks arrived, he thrust his sword fiercely into the violent earth bear's chest. The tip of the sword penetrated a few centimeters before bouncing back out. Roar! The violent earth bear's eyes were bloodshot, and his entire body was shaking with pain. He swung his claws, causing another burst of earth spikes, which he hurled at the dark blue mecha. It was this mecha that had just killed his mate, and now it had stabbed it again. Such hatred made it unable to care for other enemies. However, the mechas, which the violent earth bear had ignored, all swung their swords at him. The defenseless violent earth bear was instantly pierced. The small violent earth bear roared a few times and lunged at the large violent earth bear, trying to pull out the huge sword still in its body. Unexpectedly, the huge sword was pulled out again, piercing the small violent earth bear's chest. Roar! The little earth bear roared in frustration. It touched its skin on the ground, but received no response. It was also dying, blood all over the ground, its strength gradually fading, and the light in its giant eyes gradually dimmed and extinguished. How cruel, Lin Miaomiao said, feeling a little down. They lived a good life as a family and had done nothing wrong, yet they were killed by the bad guys who suddenly invaded their home. Yi Hongwen was silent for a long time before saying, they just didn't have time to do anything bad. If the miners had encountered the earth bears now, who do you think would have died? Lin Miaomiao blinked, and it seemed to be true. The thought made her feel better, and she began to covet the earth bear corpses again. I wonder if the bear meat is delicious. They say bear paws are a rare delicacy. With a whoosh, a gray shadow passed across the messy land, and the corpses of several earth bears disappeared in an instant. Everyone was stunned. Someone yelled, "There are robbers. They stole my bear." Lin Miaomiao nodded in agreement, then realized something was wrong. It was Luo Cheng who spoke, and Shen Yu hadn't participated in the fight, so it seemed unlikely that the dead bear would be included. Yi Hongwen said, since we are all staying at Shen Yu, their hunting gains should belong to us. After all, there's no ice storage on the assessment team's small warship. He had returned to the battlefield, so there was no need to explain who the robber was. Chapter 431 Zemu fainted from anger. It turned out that the robot that had been following them the entire time had snatched the earth bear. During the fight, it had heeded Yi Hongwen's instructions to stay out of harm's way and stayed in the background. Once the alien beasts were eliminated, it emerged to collect the spoils. As for why the robot disappeared after collecting the alien beasts, it was because, while not highly intelligent, it knew how to avoid danger. The mechas were the ones who charged forward to fight the alien beasts, and after collecting the spoils, they kept their distance. With the earth bear gone, everyone searched the area curiously, expecting a speedy alien beast to take advantage. However, they found no alien beast, only a robot perched on a tree. Hey, why is this robot here? Liu Yifei wondered. The boss's space button always contains several robots, used to clean up the battlefield after a battle with the alien beasts, reducing the workload for everyone else. The robot was lifelike, with ordinary features, the kind produced on an assembly line, its skin a bit grayish-black. Zunyu immediately understood what was going on. He was always petty, and seeing Yi Hongwen show no intention of explaining, he sarcastically said, Captain Yi's robot is truly impressive. It scurried past so many mech pilots and collected its supplies without anyone being able to stop it. This was meant to be a taunt, but Yi Hongwen replied calmly, thank you for the compliment. Shen Shizhen was originally created to clean up battlefields, so his speed is only decent. Zunyu gritted his teeth, genuinely taking it as a compliment. Captain Shen Yu was so young, yet he seemed a bit unresponsive. This was the feeling only experienced by veterans in high positions could have. With a newfound opinion of Yi Hongwen, he didn't want to continue finding fault. However, he felt a little resentful that the alien beast he had worked so hard to defeat hadn't suffered any good, so he used his seniority to try to criticize him. It's good that they're cleaning up the battlefield quickly, but you should be careful not to overextend your hands. It would be terrible if you accidentally get your hands cut off. Captain Z is right. I thought so too, Yi Hongwen replied coldly. That's why I told 13 to stay away and wait until the alien beast stopped breathing or the battle was over before we start cleaning up. At this point, Zhongyu couldn't understand that Ye Hongwen was deliberately playing dumb, but he couldn't just have the robots put away or have the alien beast spit out, otherwise he would lose face as the leader of the assessment team. For a moment, Zhongyu's eyes darkened with anger, and he almost fainted. He finally calmed down and was about to change the subject when he realized that everyone had already moved on, leaving him stunned for a long time. Zhongyu didn't know what to say. Even Tian Zhihan, who usually followed him around, hadn't reminded him. Was he mocking his failure as a person? After much deliberation, he swallowed his anger. As a team leader, he hated being called narrow-minded, and he was no exception. He could only mutter to himself, "This is just the first time. It won't happen again." Unbeknownst to Zhongyu, this was only the beginning, not the end. Over the next few days, they encountered a series of 6th-tier exotic beasts, including long-tusked boars, swift-winged monkeys, venomous scorpions, and double-pupiled birds. While their numbers weren't numerous, they still left the assessment team dismayed. Where on earth did these 6th-tier exotic beasts come from? They clearly weren't detected last time, Zhongyu said, sweating profusely. He felt this planet was truly bizarre. Even if they couldn't detect it once, it couldn't be the case every time. I think the life detector might have shorted out. I remember we just replaced it a while ago, Tian Zhihan muttered. The evaluation team immediately found an excuse: the new detector isn't good. We must have bought a defective one, which led to this major error. Zhongyu felt bad. As the team leader, he was responsible for purchasing all the replacement mecha parts and equipment for the team. If there was a problem, he would definitely be the one to blame. Impossible, the things I bought can't be problematic, Zhongyu flatly rejected. They're from a big company, a big brand. Even big brands can have quality issues, someone said coldly. Team leader, you're so tough. Are you truly confident in the product, or did you receive some kind of bribe? Li Enhua, what do you mean? Are you thinking of starting over just because you've advanced to level 6? Zhongyu's expression was stern. He felt truly guilty. For someone in that position, accepting kickbacks was normal. Anyone who didn't would be an anomaly. But kickbacks were one thing, and he'd personally inspected the parts. This was a matter of his own safety, so how could he relax? If you feel guilty, don't make excuses. Don't think I don't know you took advantage of others, Li Enhua scoffed. He'd long disliked his eyes, who took benefits and then went around bragging about being wronged and overworked. Brother Li, don't say that, Tian Zhihan said, speaking up for the team leader. You've read the report from Team Shenyu. They didn't detect these strange beasts at first. So, could it be that their captain also took kickbacks and replaced the detector with a defective one? Zhongyu breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, someone was still standing by him, but he remembered the silence from the others. The assessment team's argument didn't take place in private, but rather took place directly on the temporary communication channel. Shenyu and the others paused, but after listening, they also had a question in their minds. Why did the detector malfunction in the first place? Yibingshan, is there something blocking the detector's detection? Lin Miaomiao asked curiously. Yes, an energy shield, Ye Hongwen answered without hesitation, but there's no way such a thing exists here. If there were, it would be detected, Lin Miaomiao thought for a moment. I remember it couldn't be detected at such a distance, Ye Hongwen admitted. But the assessment mission required flying all over the planet, so no matter where it was hidden, it could be found, unless... Underground, the two men said in unison. Hey, boss, what are you talking about? Liu Yifei was confused. What's going on underground? Stupid, boss and Little Cook are talking about the alien beasts hiding underground, when Zixi had figured it out and agreed with this idea. It couldn't be that the bad friends' detectors had all failed, this was the only explanation. The Shenyu team suddenly realized that this was the only possible explanation. Before anyone came to the energy star, the mid to high-level alien beasts had lived underground. When they sensed someone approaching, they would emerge to drive out and eliminate the intruder. Not only the Shenyu team members, but also the assessment team members, agreed with this hypothesis. Captain Yi is really quick-witted. No wonder he can become a captain at such a young age, Li Enho praised him generously. If you want to be a good leader, you can't be too rigid in your mind. The first sentence was a compliment, but the second sentence became suggestive. obviously alluding to something. Zhu naturally identified himself with it, and he became so angry that his face turned red, heat rose in his head, he couldn't breathe, and he fainted from anger. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 432 IQ Delinquency. Zhu fainted from rage, only to be discovered by his henchman, Tianzihan. Everyone had flown a long way, but the dark blue mech remained motionless. After calling out several times to no avail, they realized something was amiss. The dark blue mech wasn't damaged, but Zhu had no one he trusted, and no one with emergency access. Ultimately, the hatch was forcibly pried open by Lin Miaomiao. To rescue him, the entire Shenyu had been deployed. Of course, as an ace armorer, he could have opened the hatch without resorting to brute force. But his beloved sister had just texted him, claiming the mech's owner was inhuman and lecherous, irritating Lin Miaomiao. Not only did he force the hatch open roughly, he also deliberately delayed opening it. By the time Zhu was rescued, he was already pale and bleeding from the pressure of the mech's cabin. It was obvious he wasn't well, and he expected to spend hours in the repair bay. Lin and Hu and others did not think it was wrong. Even the manicurist in their team was a part-timer. If they did it themselves, it would take more than half an hour to pry it open. Now they rescued him in less than 15 minutes, which was already a pleasant surprise. After the man was rescued, Tianzihan saw that he was in urgent need of treatment. He actually forgot that there was a special medical room on the Shenyu. He directly took out the treatment cabin as usual and stuffed the man in. He set the treatment time for 5 hours. The action was done in one go. It was too late for others to stop him. Everyone in Shenyu. This guy has a grudge against their team leader, right? Everyone knows that using too much repair fluid is not a good thing. Zihan, you are stupid. Li Enho held his forehead helplessly. You put the team leader in without letting a doctor check it, what? Don't we always do this? Where can we find a doctor to check it? Tianzihan said dissatisfiedly. Don't think you can find fault just because you are more advanced in yourself. The other members of the assessment team had complicated looks. This guy was really out of his mind. Ren Chenyu's robot nurses were all on standby, but he had taken the initiative. Those who knew him thought he was a nervous leader, while those who didn't would definitely think he was playing dirty. Tianzihan was no fool either. He had come to his senses by now. This wasn't a solo assessment mission to a remote galaxy. They had the fleet's flagship nearby, with a fully equipped medical clinic and doctors. There was no need for him to intervene. Can we get the leader out now? Tianzihan asked his teammates with a sad face and no hope. No, Li Enho shook his head cruelly. The robot nurse added in a serious tone, after entering the repair chamber, the patient can only be removed after the repair time is over, otherwise it will cause unpredictable consequences to the patient's body. The matter was a foregone conclusion and could not be changed. Gu Qingheng suppressed a smile and said to the robot nurse, send Captain Z to the infirmary and let Dr. Ji Yuang take good care of him. After saying that, he couldn't help but wipe the non-existent sweat from his head. Not long after entering Shenyu, he became corrupt and remembered those nicknames so well. He almost called Ji Yuang Dr. Ji Yuang in front of outsiders. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and blurted it out. The robot nurse carried the repair chamber onto the ship. Tianzihan casually put away Zmu's mecha and wanted to follow, but was stopped by Luo Chang. They hadn't done much of the work yet, so how could he run away? Get out of the way, I want to go up and take care of the captain, Tianzihan said dissatisfiedly. Team leader Z has a nurse to take care of us. Comrade Don, don't worry. The mission is more important, Luo Cheng said with a grin. You don't want to stay in this damn place too long, do you? Tianzihan hesitated. He truly didn't want to stay here too long. Every mission was followed by a break. When he received the error in a mission assessment, he was just about to take his family on an interstellar trip. The starship tickets were purchased, and everyone was already at the passenger shipyard. But because of this, he returned to military headquarters. He could think about it, but he couldn't say it out loud, lest he be accused of not taking the mission seriously and always wanting to slack off. As he pondered this, he felt a dilemma. Then let's continue the exploration. The energy planet is beautiful, but they were in a hurry to open a mine, So there's not much time to waste, Li Enho calmly said to his teammates. The gates of the Shinryu closed, and everyone returned to their mechas. They moved forward, continuing their previous conversation. The alien beasts were likely hiding deep underground. Boss, should we look for the underground passage? Luo Cheng asked. We have to search, Yi Hongwen replied. If there were a colony of alien beasts underground, it would be a serious matter. Even if they exterminated every alien beast they encountered, the planet would still be in danger. But that's too dangerous, Tianzihan said, wanting to retreat. Why don't we return to the ship and make a long-term plan? For example, he might recruit a large fleet to undertake the exploration mission. But at this point, he couldn't just run away. Not only did Shen use main object, but even his companions refused to do so. So, the matter was settled. Finding the underground passage was no easy task, especially given the precedent of alien plants and beasts collaborating. Furthermore, the area was vast, and with so few people, it would be difficult to find. Gu Qingheng suggested that the fourth-level mecha operators be involved. Yi Hongwen pondered the idea and agreed. However, that would put off the third-level mecha operators. They didn't want to sit idle on the ship, and constantly going to the physical training room would tire them, wouldn't they? The protesters were represented by Yu Zixin, and their reasons were very sufficient. There is strength in numbers. Things like finding a passage require a large number of people, otherwise we might miss it if we are not careful. Besides, we are not fighting against alien beasts. If there are alien plants, we can't ask for help if we can't defeat them. Yi Hongwen and Gu Qingheng discussed it for a while and felt that this was not impossible, so they agreed to their request, but there was a proviso: a third-level mecha division must find a fourth-level mecha division to cooperate with the operation. They can form a group freely. If they can't find one, they can't get off the ship. The third-level mecha divisions were accustomed to such treatment and agreed without saying a word. They soon hooked up with a protector, and Yu Zixin didn't even need to look for one. Everyone was out, and Lin Miaomiao couldn't sit still any longer. She urged to move on her own, urging her to leave the Black Lotus. Yi Hongwen said helplessly, "Isn't Aoxu still being repaired by your eldest brother?" "But I have a spare mecha," Lin Miaomiao retorted calmly. "It's also a high-quality level 4 mecha, just slightly inferior to Aoxu's." Yi Hongwen had no choice but to open the hatch. Flowers without weathering the elements wither easily, and Miaomiao, a soldier himself, couldn't keep her in his arms forever. Still feeling a little reluctant, after watching his girlfriend enter the spare mecha, he said coldly, "It's not impossible for you to be on your own. We don't know what's going on down there, so I won't have to take you in once we find the passage." Lin Miaomiao was torn. How could he use this to lure her? It was too mean. But she wouldn't give up. If there were too many alien beasts down there, she didn't believe a level 4 mecha pilot wouldn't go down through the hatch. Turning around and glaring at Yu Bingshan, Lin Miaomiao quickly closed the hatch with her mental power. Chapter 433, Battle Against Beauty. Lin Miaomiao's spare mech was pink, and its features and configuration were excellent. Aside from the somewhat vulgar color, she was quite satisfied with everything else. When she first received this return gift, she wanted to give it a fresh coat of paint, but her eldest brother accused her of being wasteful. "It's just a spare mech, you won't see much use. Why bother with it?" her eldest brother sternly rebuked. "Even if you have plenty of credit points, you can't waste it like this." She knew she'd be labeled a spendthrift if she insisted, so she had to give up. Of course, she wasn't going to resign herself to her fate. This mech was being used on this mission, and if it got scratched and the paint was damaged, a new coat of paint would be a natural fit. After the hatch closed, a delicate girl's voice rang out, "Good afternoon, dear master. Hanxiu is at your service." Lin Miaomiao shuddered. Such a rude way of addressing her made her want to bite. And what the hell was Hanxiu? Her eldest brother's naming was even worse than hers. No, the name had to be changed, immediately. "Hey, Hanxiu." "Right," Lin Miaomiao said with a wooden face, "your name is too meaningless. From today on, you will be called Xiaohong." "What? Xiaohong?" Hanxiu exclaimed. "How can such a beautiful and unparalleled mecha of mine be called such a name?" "Master, please think twice." Lin Miaomiao was depressed. It was not a good thing for a mecha to be too intelligent. It also knew how to be picky. With a light sigh, she changed her words and said, "Then change your name to Handong." "Don't have any more objections, Hanxiu." "No, it was Handong," responded aggrievedly. The master's orders must be obeyed, and they cannot refuse even if they think the new name is not nice. She'd consider changing her personality too, but thinking of Aoksu's carefree, infuriating demeanor, she decided to keep it the same. Just be obedient and cut the crap. Handong was completely confused, not understanding what her master meant, but she still responded loudly, I understand, dear master. The 3rd and 4th level mecha masters had already formed a team. Feng Liken had wanted to go with her, but Liu Kaoyer said it was a waste to have 2 4th level mecha masters teamed up, so she forced them over, leaving Lin Miaomiao alone. What's the big deal? I can do it alone, Lin Miaomiao snorted. Handong said delicately, dear master, don't be sad. You still have me. Lin Miaomiao shuddered and demanded sternly, take out the word dear, and use a more normal tone. I'm tired of hearing that sweet voice. Okay, Handong agreed regretfully. She didn't even think her tone was bad, the documentation said it sounded more feminine that way. Lin Miaomiao nodded in satisfaction and was about to leave for work when Zhang Keek video called, wanting to join her and asking if it was available. She replied, of course, and soon a light green mech raced over. Upon seeing Handong's expression, Zhang Keek burst into laughter, exclaiming, the goddess's backup mech is so beautiful. It's actually pink, don't bring it up. That color is so tacky, Lin Miaomiao frowned. Okay, let's find a deserted spot and start searching, Zhang Keek responded, turning around and searching for a moment before pointing to a small hill in the distance. There's no one there. Let's go there, Lin Miaomiao looked over. The hillside was only a small slope, but it was a rare and beautiful spot on the forest, dotted with flowers, grass, and a few saplings. Okay, let's go there, Lin Miaomiao agreed. The expanse of greenery was indeed soothing, but after a while, it became boring. A change of color would be nice. 2 mechas, one red and one green, raced towards the hillside. Though the place looked far away, the mechas were fast enough to reach it in less than 5 minutes. During this time, they searched a flat lawn to make sure there were no holes. Reaching the hillside, they began a careful search, parting every flower and blade of grass to examine them, fearing they might have missed anything. Sadly, they found nothing. After searching the entire hillside, Lin Miaomiao sighed, these beasts' burrows are so well hidden. Finding even one is so difficult. Ah, goddess, come and look. There's a small hole here, Zhang Keek exclaimed. Zhang Keek had already found the back of the hill. Lin Miaomiao ran over and took a look. She saw a hole half a meter long and wide under a beauty petal. She immediately felt upset. Keek, how many exotic beasts can enter such a small hole? Do you think this is an underground passage? This, Zhang Keek laughed dryly. The exotic beasts were all huge, and it seemed that there really were not many exotic beasts. However, she was still a little unwilling. Maybe this is a social exotic beast like the blood-sucking ants. How about we dig it out? Lin Miaomiao pulled the corner of her mouth and said helplessly, if you want to dig, go ahead, but don't damage the beauty petal. It would be a pity if such a beautiful flower died. Unfortunately, her words were too late. The giant sword of the green metal was inserted, and the flower was split in half. Oh, goddess, you're too late, Zhang Keek said innocently. There's something similar over there. If you like, you can transplant it to the ship. Although the flower was beautiful, Lin Miaomiao hadn't thought of growing it for fun. She shook her head, then remembered that Keek couldn't see it from inside the mecha, so she said again, there's no point in growing such a fragile flower. We're mecha masters, we can't let playing with things ruin our lives. Okay, I'll continue, Zhang Keek smiled, drawing her sword. Just as she was about to continue digging the small hole, she exclaimed in surprise, what's wrong with this flower? It's back to normal. Lin Miaomiao reflexively looked up and saw that the beautiful flower that had been split in half had returned to normal, showing no signs of damage at all. How could this be? Lin Miaomiao laughed in horror. Could it be that the beautiful flower had mutated? Just as Zhang Keek was thinking this, she saw the beauty plant suddenly grow rapidly, reaching a height of about 4 or 5 meters before stopping. The flowers on it also grew to twice the size of a human head. The buds opened and closed, revealing a mouthful of sharp fangs, and bit down on the green mecha. Before Zhang Keek could react, or even dodge, the buds bit her firmly. Wow, flowers can bite people, Zhang Keek screamed, hastily retreating. Only then did she realize that the buds' teeth were so sharp that they could even bite through metal. Your mecha, how come this happened? Lin Miaomiao gasped. raised her sword and stepped forward to force back Miaomiao, who had pulled out the roots, and asked anxiously, "Keek, how are you? Can you still control the mecha?" Zhang Keek controlled the mecha for a while and felt that there was no big impact, except that some of the thermal weapon circuits were damaged and could not be used, so she replied with a smile, "It's okay, I'm alive and well, and can still fight with you." Since she could still move, Lin Miaomiao no longer distracted her attention, and slashed a flower bud stretched out by Miaomiao with her long sword, cutting off one of the flower buds in the mouth full of sharp teeth. Chapter 434, Battle Against Beauty. The moment the bud hit the ground, it dissolved into the soil and vanished. Lin Miaomiao breathed a sigh of relief and was about to cut off the other buds in the same pattern when she noticed a new sprout breaking through the ground where the bud had melted into. It rapidly grew taller and taller, and in seconds, it blossomed into a beautiful flower. "Ah!" Zhang Keek cried in panic. "How could this happen? Goddess, step back quickly. This flower is so strange," Lin Miaomiao said helplessly. "Keek, you'd better shut up. You can't run now." At some point, the beautiful flowers on the hillside had uprooted their stems and rushed to surround the two mechas. In a matter of seconds, they grew taller and larger, their buds full of sharp teeth aimed at them. "Be careful not to cut off the buds, or you'll create new enemies," Lin Miaomiao warned earnestly, chopping off another alien plant. "Don't worry, goddess." Zhang Keek, who had also witnessed the scene, was well aware of the strangeness of these alien plants. While fighting off the Miaomiao charging towards her, she muttered, "Miaomiao, we should call for help. I don't want to die here." Huabeao bit off a piece of iron in one bite. If the stalemate continued, their mechas would be bitten through, and their men would probably be swallowed up by the Miaomiao bite by bite. Lin Miaomiao had certainly considered calling for help, but she felt too embarrassed. They were just a few alien plants, and they couldn't handle them both. It was too useless. "Let's wait a little. I don't believe we can't deal with these Miaomiao," Lin Miaomiao snorted. "Since we can't kill them with swords, let's burn them with fire." "No, there's so much vegetation here. What if it starts another forest fire?" Zhang Keek objected for the first time. Normally, she wouldn't object to the goddess's words, but if another major fire broke out, Shen Yu would be guilty. "Keek, you're overthinking it." "I'm not stupid." Lin Miaomiao tried to chop off the roots of the beauty jiao plant, but after unsheathing her sword, she saw, unsurprisingly, that they had grown back. "Damn it," Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but curse. "Keek, let's fly up. I want to see if they can catch up." It turned out that the beauty jiao plant was more than just a little bit abnormal. As the two mechas continued to fly upward, they also surged upward, not expanding horizontally, but simply extending their flower paths. "We can't escape," Zhang Keek lamented. "These alien plants were too difficult to deal with. Why rush? Even if we can't win, someone will come to save us," Lin Miaomiao said calmly. The noise would naturally attract the attention of nearby teammates. Several mechas were already flying in their direction, and Yi Hongwen's questioning voice could be heard over the main channel. Lin Miaomiao briefly explained the situation and the difficulty of the beauty jiao plant. Yi Hongwen was silent for a moment, then told the approaching mechas to return. "Go back to your positions and continue searching for the passage. I'll take care of Miaomiao." With the captain's words, the others naturally agreed and turned back. Black Lotus, however, flew closer but didn't offer any assistance, merely observing the battle from a distance. "Go for it, I'm here," Yi Hongwen said curtly. Lin Miaomiao smiled. Even without saying anything, he understood her thoughts. What was there for her to fear? "Handong, you and I will fight side by side today. Don't be too inferior to Aoksu." Lin Miaomiao swung her sword with a heroic gesture, switching from passive defense to active offense. "Master, what are you talking about? How could I be inferior to Aoksu?" Handong pouts, then asks, bewildered, "Who is Aoksu?" Lin Miaomiao, "I don't know who could be so confident. It's bizarre." But she didn't have time to discuss the virtue of pragmatism with Handong. The beauty attacking them was the real focus. Dodging the buds approaching from all directions, Lin Miaomiao launched a low-powered, yet highly flammable, firebomb at them. With a soft boom, several of the lily-of-the-valley plants ignited. They didn't bother attacking their enemies, quickly retreating to the surface to extinguish the flames. Lin Miaomiao refused to let them succeed, and pursued them. With a few slashes of her sword, She hacked away at the upper halves of the lily of the valley plants, then unleashed a few more firebombs on the remaining rhizomes. Soon, the flowers were reduced to ash, and the surrounding grass was also ablaze. The fire extinguisher was once again in use. Fortunately, the wind was light today, and the fire was quickly extinguished. The burned lily of the valley plants didn't resurrect, indicating that the strategy to eliminate the alien plants had finally succeeded. Before she could gloat for a moment, Zhang Qi's screams rang out. "Ah, goddess, save me. Boss, save me. My mech's cabin has been gnawed away." Lin Miaomiao rushed upwards, grumbling as she went. "Keek, you idiot. I told you to use thermal weapons to blast them. If they can't be killed, burn them. There's no strong wind today, and you're still afraid of fire." "I know," Zhang Qi said, also feeling frustrated. "But they're all chasing me. I don't even have the chance to attack." Third-level mech operators aren't very skilled and lack much combat experience. They practiced in pairs with their companions, so they had no experience dealing with exotic beasts and plants. Surrounded by a swarm of mutant beauties, they could only flee, not fight back. Realizing her mistake, a certain cook apologized and diligently reached out to intercept most of the beauties, leaving only one or two for Zhang Qi to practice with. With Yi Hongwen's support, the two fought without restraint. Following Lin Miaomiao's previous method, they soon reduced the beauties to ash. Finally, "I'm alive," Zhang Qi cried with joy. These alien plants were incredibly powerful, even more formidable than the beasts themselves. No wonder the boss and the others kept telling her to be careful. She remembered a small hole in the ground, the very hole that had caused her vengeance against Lin Jiao. This made her unhappy, and she felt even more certain that something was wrong with it. She immediately charged down with all her might, ready to dig deeper. The result of her excessive excitement was this: Zhang Qi's mind lit up, and the mech lost control and plummeted to the ground. In her haste, she forgot to regain control, and she plummeted headfirst into the hole. Lin Miaomiao, suspended in midair, witnessed the sudden change, but was powerless to stop or rescue them. She covered her eyes with her hands, preparing to pretend she saw nothing. After all, the mech's cabin was equipped with safety bags, and a fall from such a height wouldn't kill anyone. After a loud crash, Lin Miaomiao moved her hand away and carefully glanced at the screen. Then she couldn't help but laugh. The light green mech was planted upside down in the soil, looking like a strange plant from a distance. The green mech trembled, as if trying to break free, but it was a little confused. After several unsuccessful attempts, it begged for help. "Goddess, please help me. I can't get out. Something is crawling out from inside." Lin Miaomiao was in awe. She no longer had the heart to joke. She stepped forward and pulled the green mech out. Chapter 435, Digging Up the Giant Snake's Lair. The cave wasn't an underground passage, of course, but a den of a strange beast, the lair of Lin Miaomiao's most hated reptile, the armored snake. The enormous white snake, 100 meters long, emerged and opened its maw wide, aiming to devour the two iron creatures who had disturbed its hibernation. Lin Miaomiao shuddered as the armored snake's maw opened wide, instinctively running back. She didn't want to be sucked into the snake's maw. Zhang Qi, however, was a moment too slow to react. Seeing her tongue about to be drawn into its mouth, she hurriedly raised her sword and slashed at it. Blood spurted out, and the giant snake retracted its tongue in pain, allowing the green mech to escape. With a hiss, the armored snake, suffering a setback, scrambled out of the cave, lashing out with its long tail. It lashed out at the green mech that had dared to harm it, successfully knocking its foe into the ground. Unable to evade, the green mech sank face first into the mud. "It's over. The monitor is broken, and the screen is black," Zhang Qi yelled. "Goddess, please help pull me out. It's too hard to find a foothold to get up." Lin Miaomiao burst into tears. She had just eliminated a few indestructible alien plants, and now a giant white snake appeared. What kind of luck is this? "And Qi, the monitor is broken. It would be dangerous to come out, otherwise let her stay in the pit for now." However, the appearance of this white snake is really familiar. It is a bit like the white snake in the TV in her previous life, but the temperament is different. The white snake does not have such a fierce murderous aura, and she doesn't want to kill as soon as she appears. Miaomiao, this is a 5th-level armored snake. Its hide is as tough as armor, impervious to swords and spears. Yi Hongwen's deep, pleasant voice paused for a few seconds before he said calmly, "Do you need me to help?" Lin Miaomiao wanted to say yes. Aside from the white snake and Zhaoqing on TV, she hated all reptiles, including earthworms. But she also knew that there were many types of snakes among the exotic beasts, and she would inevitably encounter them on future missions. It wouldn't be good to always rely on her companions. Bossy, you should just watch for now. Wait until I'm done, then you can take action, Lin Miaomiao said. The snake's long tail slapped, and the pink mecha nimbly dodged the attack, flipping onto the snake's back and slashing down with its greatsword. Unfortunately, the armored snake lived up to its name. Such a powerful attack only left a faint mark on its back, not even breaking its skin. Oh my god. Its hide is so strong. It didn't even break, Lin Miaomiao complained as she dodged the armored snake's charge. This time, it went a bit too far, leaping several times to strike at the man's head, but naturally, it was fruitless. If the armored snake could speak, it would have roared, "It hurts so much." However, there were no ifs. The giant snake couldn't express its pain, so it could only relentlessly pursue the pink mech that had hurt it. By then, it had completely forgotten the green mech that had damaged its home and disrupted its sleep. Its long tail slithered, swiftly slashing across at the creature, wreaking havoc on its head. Handong leaped upward to avoid it, but the armored snake was prepared. Its tail suddenly rose several feet in the air, landing above the pink mech's head, sending Handong careening upwards. Though the armored snake's skin was tough, its body was resilient. Handong was repelled by the impact and fell back into the snake's gaping maw. Having just freed herself from the dirt and discovered that her precious mecha's detector was still working, Zhang Qi, who was delighted, freaked out. She sprinted towards the snake's mouth, shouting, "Goddess, hold on, I'm here to save you." Lin Miaomiao frowned, controlling Handong to raise his huge sword and plunge it hard into the snake's tongue. This time, the piercing went through, sending blood gushing out. The armored snake's mouth, which had been about to close, couldn't help but open again, allowing Handong to draw his sword and escape. After escaping the snake's jaws, Lin Miaomiao didn't rush for revenge. Instead, she continued to rush forward, complaining coldly as she ran, "Handong, you and I really don't have the slightest bit of chemistry. I told you to change direction, but you still bumped into it and almost got swallowed by the snake." As she fled, she didn't forget to pull the green mecha that had come to her rescue back with her. She had already escaped, and Keek had only been serving food to the snake. After escaping Shekau, Lin Miaomiao began to consider her next attack plan. Claiming invulnerability was a bit of a rip-off. Why were these mutants so hard to fight with such thick hides? But then again, if they weren't so thick and hard to fight, they wouldn't have a place in this interstellar age. Although humans didn't want to admit it, the alien beasts were indeed a formidable enemy. Some habitable planets were occupied by them, and even if they wanted to seize them, they dared not act rashly, fearing a ferocious alien beast counterattack. Especially after Hu Zihi's incident, the alien beast's strength had become even more feared. No one knew if there were other similarly transformed alien beasts lurking among humans. If the alien beasts had mastered all of humanity's advanced technology, their power would likely be even greater. "Master, how could you do this?" Handong complained delicately. "You didn't even cry, giving me a chance to develop rapport, and you're already thinking of flying off into the sky on our first collaboration." Lin Miaomiao was dumbfounded. Even a mech like this was so tearful, it was chilling. But there was another, more important question. Mechas are supposed to fly. If they can't even fly, what's the point of you? Handong quietly retreated. Being a backup mech was tragic enough, and now he had an unreasonable master. It was a sad story, to be honest. This was originally flat ground, but the armored snake, unwilling to make its nest at the foot of a high mountain, had dug a hole here and piled the excavated soil into a small hill. The massive snake's tongue was pierced, and it rolled over in pain, collapsing the fragile hill. With its painstakingly constructed lair destroyed, the armored snake certainly wouldn't take the blame for itself. It simply glared with its bloodshot eyes and continued to pursue the two iron men. It wasn't until then that Lin Miaomiao realized how versatile this armored snake was. It could actually fly. It had agreed to fly high if it couldn't defeat it, so how could this cold-blooded creature actually fly? Lin Miaomiao was completely shocked. So this thing can fly? I've never seen it have wings. How on earth does it fly? Zhang Qi also expressed amazement. Forget it. Let's escape. Lin Miaomiao was speechless. Even at this moment, She was still thinking about such nonsense. They used to say you should strike a snake at its weakest point, because that's where it's most vulnerable. While escaping, she glanced back at the giant snake, her face instantly grimace. Where exactly is that weak point on a 100-meter-long snake? Oh, and there's also the 3rd-inch point. It's said that the delicate spine there can paralyze a snake. It didn't matter that she didn't know where the 3-inch mark was. She climbed onto the snake's back and beat it hard all the way. She didn't believe that she couldn't cure this giant snake. After killing it, she would make snake soup for everyone tonight. Thinking of the delicious snake soup, Lin Miaomiao became mad with fear. She wiped the saliva from the corner of her mouth, and sprinted a few meters up. She turned around and rushed towards the iron-tailed snake like a hungry tiger pouncing on a sheep. She pounced on the big snake again, wielding the huge sword and chopping it down quickly and fiercely, muttering to herself, I chop, I chop, I chop, 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 chop. Chapter 436 Weird Vines. Bullied by an ugly iron creature, the armored snake was furious. It tumbled through the air, attempting to throw Han-dong off its back, its tail lashing out repeatedly. But to its frustration, it couldn't shake off the shameless creature. While its scales were thick, that didn't mean it was immune to injury. Especially when the great sword struck its vulnerable spine, its body trembled violently, and it plummeted as if losing control. Lin Miaomiao didn't understand what was happening at first, but when she saw the snake slam to the ground, she realized she had hit a vital point. She nearly cheered out loud, but at the last moment, she remembered to maintain her good image and quickly turned off the intercom. Ha ha ha! Lin Miaomiao laughed 3 times in the mecha cabin, but her face remained strangely expressionless. Anyone who saw her would probably think she'd encountered a lunatic. Goddess, you are so awesome. You actually knocked the snake down. Zhang Qi was overjoyed, commanding the mecha to rush towards the big snake on the ground. Now was the time to take revenge and settle grievances. It was a great shame for her to be chased all over the sky by the snake just now. Her teammates laughed at them in the main channel. The thick skin and flesh were hard to cut, and they didn't dare to touch the vicious snake head. In the end, the two chose to continue beating on the snake, and when they hit the weakest part, they would kill it and take it back. Then they could kill it however they wanted. After beating for a long time, although the armored snake looked in great pain, it didn't die. Lin Miaomiao was also fed up. If she continued beating like this, who knew how much time would be wasted? After thinking about it, she came up with a brilliant idea. Keek, stop hitting it. Lin Miaomiao stopped someone who was still frantically chopping at the snake. I already know how to kill it. Lin Miaomiao parked the mecha next to the armored snake's body, opened the hatch, and took out an empty space button. Using her mental power, she directly put the giant snake into it. The space button couldn't hold living things. If you forced it in, it would definitely be dead when you took it out after a while because there was no air inside. Where's the snake? Zhang Qi was shocked. A snake that big couldn't just disappear like that. Could it be, goddess, you put it in the space button? Yes, put it in there for a day or two. I don't believe it can still be alive, Lin Miaomiao said proudly. I'm removing the fuel from the bottom of the pot. Let's see how it survives without air. Zhang Qi felt a little dizzy. But aren't you afraid that the things in your space button will be crushed by it? Why should I be afraid? It's empty inside to begin with. It's just a spare space button, Lin Miaomiao said leisurely. Having lived as a commoner for decades, she always preferred to be prepared for emergencies. She was particularly fond of a space button that could hold a lot of things. Last time, she gave her extra to Lin Xiaodi, and afterward, she felt uneasy, as if something was missing. Later, she asked Wei Junian for a spare space button, which came in handy. Well, the goddess is worthy of being a goddess. Her thinking is beyond the comprehension of mortals like us, and her killing methods are even more advanced, Zhang Qi said, feeling amused and embarrassed. A backup mecha was normal, but having a backup space button was incredible. Lin Miaomiao grumbled, wondering if this was a compliment or a criticism. I found the underground passage. An excited scream suddenly echoed over the main channel, instantly silencing everyone who was discussing the feasibility of using the space button to kill the giant snake. Gu Qinghang's gentle voice echoed, report the coordinates. It was said that the person who found the passage was Zhang Xiaohu, a somewhat timid person. The passage was located in a valley between 3 steep mountains. From the top of the mountain, looking down, the valley seemed unfathomable. Everyone stood scattered on the hilltops, gazing at the bottomless darkness below, their hearts pounding. This is definitely a cliff, isn't it? If one were to look from below, one wouldn't even know there was a cliff. It was completely blocked by the sheer mountain. Is there really a passage down here? Lin Miaomiao expressed confusion. There's no way up. Could it be that all the alien beasts can fly? It wasn't just her, everyone else wondered. The cliff edge was nothing but thick vines. If a passage truly lay below, could those flightless alien beasts have climbed up using the vines? No, they can't all fly, Zheng Xiaohu said in a strange tone. It's those vines. Those vines have mutated, and they can carry the alien beasts up. Zheng Xiaohu had witnessed it himself. The mutated vines had carried several level 3 swift cats up the cliff. Fortunately, he was far enough away that the alien plants didn't notice anything was wrong and interrupt the transport. Hearing it was a mutant vine, Li Yin couldn't help but step forward and give it a tentative slash. The previously motionless vine dodged effortlessly. Surprisingly, the attacked vine didn't retaliate, instead returning to silence after dodging the attack. If they hadn't seen what had just happened, everyone would have thought it was just an ordinary vine. The detector shows the vine's health is normal, not much different from an ordinary vine. It was when Assessor Li attacked just now that the abnormality alarm went off, Gu Qingheng said gravely. Oh my god, Luo Cheng couldn't help but curse. This planet is so fucking weird. The alien plants are so hidden that they can't be detected without moving, and they even get along well with the alien beasts. If all the alien plants are like this, then humanity is in danger. Captain Luo is right. During the last mission assessment, this place was also listed as a key inspection target. Li Yin now felt like smiling bitterly. They had been to this place before and hadn't detected anything amiss. Since Zheng Xiaohu saw a strange beast being carried up by the vines below, let's go down and take a look, Yi Hongwen said coldly. Whether it's true or not, we'll know after we look for it. The life detector showed normal results, and the assessment team would definitely not waste time searching under the cliff. So they still needed to go down and look. With so many people searching carefully, if there was anything wrong, they would definitely find it. Yi Hongwen's idea was unanimously agreed with everyone. To express his apologies for the erroneous mission assessment, Li Yin drove his mecha down first. However, this time he was blocked by mutant vines. Hundreds of vines, twice the thickness of an adult's arm, entangled his mecha, preventing him from going down. How could this happen? The strange vine didn't stop us last time. Li Yin was surprised. Could it be? Yi Hongwen interrupted him abruptly. This strange vine is very intelligent. It knows that we found something wrong down there and stopped us from going down, but it doesn't understand that this not only exposes itself, but also indirectly proves that something is indeed wrong down there. Captain, don't you think that this strange vine doesn't seem to have any hostility towards us? Gu Qingheng said thoughtfully. It just entangled the mecha, but has no intention of hurting anyone. Li Yin, who was entangled by the strange vine, had an idea when he heard this. He drove the mecha upwards, trying to break free, but successfully flew up the cliff. Chapter 437 Talking Vines. They were blocked if they tried to descend, but allowed to return to the cliff. Li Yin began to wonder if they had encountered a kind, rational vine. Otherwise, why would it serve as an elevator for the beasts, and why would it be so hostile to those who attacked it? It seems we have to defeat these vines before we can descend, Gu Qingheng said helplessly. This is the first time I've encountered a friendly alien plant, and I'm a little hesitant, Yi Hongwen said calmly. Perhaps you can choose another method. What method? Everyone asked in unison. Oh, it's actually very simple, Yi Hongwen said coldly. Talk to them, make friends, and let us down. Everyone frowned. What a joke. How can a human chat with a beast? This is just a joke. The boss is really getting worse, and it's all because of the little cook. Captain Yi is such a joke, Li Yin said speechlessly. Captain Yi Hongwen of Shen Yu seemed cold and unapproachable, but he didn't expect him to have a habit of joking with his subordinates. Yi Hongwen didn't respond, but Luo Cheng couldn't help but ask, should we burn these vines? The cliffs were only covered with strange vines. If the fire was well controlled, there was no need to worry about burning other grasses and plants. Setting fire to the cliffs wasn't a big deal either. As for burning everything beneath the cliff, that wasn't a concern in a small area. Fighting the strange vines would waste countless manpower and energy, so anyone with a sense of purpose knew that setting fire was the easiest way. Yi Hongwen didn't rush to reply. Instead, He asked, Assessor Li, you've been down the cliff before. Do you know if there are many plants and flowers down there? Are there any rare plants? Li Enho thought for a moment and said, there's a large pool of water down there. There aren't many plants, let alone rare ones. Even setting fire to it won't be a problem, then let's burn it, Yi Hongwen said calmly. Luo Cheng, Yi Fei, and Fan Lei will be in charge of starting the fire. Each of you will light one side of the cliff. The others will disperse and watch from the edge. Don't get too close. Be aware of the vines counterattack. If the fire spreads, put it out. Understood, everyone responded, each finding a vantage point and preparing for battle. The 3 people in charge of starting the fire quickly assigned their tasks. Boom, after 3 small explosions, the vines on the cliff edge successfully caught fire. Perhaps because it was too sudden, the vine didn't react at first. Only when a breeze blew and the fire spread in all directions did it realize something was wrong. Hundreds of vines frantically struggled to put out the fire, but nothing could put it out. Why? A childish voice echoed through the air. Why are you burning me to death? I didn't hurt you. The tender voice was filled with confusion and grievance, as if it couldn't understand what was going on. What's going on? The other children were stunned. The alien vine actually spoke. Yi Hongwen frowned, struggling internally for a few seconds, before finally gritting his teeth and turning on the loudspeaker. Because we want to go down, and you're blocking the way. The alien vine was silent for a moment before saying, I'm not letting you go down because it's dangerous down there. There are powerful creatures. It's here to help the alien beasts get up and down the cliff. Otherwise, they'd burn me. Is this the reason why alien plants and alien beasts coexist harmoniously? Yi Hongwen pondered for a moment, then suddenly changed his mind about burning the alien vine. All members of Shanyu, listen carefully. Help put out the fire immediately. Everyone had already considered putting out the fire when they heard the alien vine speak, but they didn't dare to act because the leader didn't say anything. Hearing that he had changed his mind, they hurriedly ordered the mecha to retrieve the fire extinguisher and put out the flames. You're crazy, Tianzihan screamed. That's a strange plant, a talking one at that, and you're actually planning to let it go. It's because it can talk that we can't burn it to death, Yi Hongwen said coldly. Why? Tianzihan pressed. Because it's been here for many years, it must know what's going on down there. It was Lianhu who answered. Captain Yi must be trying to get some information from the strange vine. Yi Hongwen didn't deny it. Knowing what's going on down there will give us more confidence in what we're going to do. The fire was quickly put out, but many vines of the strange vine were also burned, and the mess looked very miserable. A tender child's voice sobbed, so many leaves have been burned, I've become ugly. Why are you bullying me? Everyone couldn't help but laugh dryly. This strange plant was definitely older than them, but listening to the tender little voice complaining always made them feel like the big was bullying the small. Liu Gair, speaking frankly, defended herself. We didn't mean to bully you, but you were blocking the way, and we had to get down the cliff, so, I told you it was for your own good, the strange vine said, a little annoyed. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. You didn't tell us at the beginning, so how would we know? Liu Gair replied confidently. The strange vine was speechless. Although it wanted to stop them from getting closer to danger, it lacked the courage to speak. In its inherited memories, humans were xenophobic, and it feared extermination if it spoke. Only later did it realize that even if it didn't speak, it would still be exterminated. Although it could speak, it hadn't yet transformed, and its strength wasn't very strong. Otherwise, it wouldn't be threatened by the king of the strange beasts and serve as a tool for the beasts to ascend and descend. Kair, ask it what's going on down there, Gu Qinghang demanded over the main channel. Why let me ask? Liu Kair was a little dissatisfied. Such a serious matter shouldn't be asked by the superiors. She didn't even know what to ask. Now that you've started a conversation with it, it should be easier to get the answer, Gu Qinghang replied calmly. Besides, you're my adjutant, you should be responsible for all the small matters. Liu Kair was depressed. This adjutant was basically forced to win the lottery. If there hadn't been a traitor who reported this matter back home, she would have wanted to quit. She was just doing her job. The superior had spoken, so how could she refuse? She could only sigh and say to Yu Teng again, Hey, Yu Teng, can you tell us about the situation at the bottom of the cliff? Are there many alien beasts down there? What level are they? My name is not Hey, I have a name, Yu Teng said unhappily. You're so rude. Liu Kair was stunned. Even the alien plant knew how to teach people a lesson. But she was the one who needed help from the alien plant, so she could only ask patiently, "What's your name? Don't you think you should introduce yourself before asking my name?" Yu Tang's tender childish voice became a little arrogant. Liu Kaoye finally couldn't help but get angry. This broken vine has such a bad temper. It was definitely pretending to be pitiful just now. "No, I have to give it another firebomb, and no one can stop me." To her satisfaction, no one really spoke to stop her, so she stepped forward and took out her long fire spear. Chapter 438, A Man of the Times is a Hero. The strange vine was certainly no stranger to the thing that had just set it on fire. Seeing that the human it was talking to was about to attack after a disagreement, it immediately gave in. "Wait, let's talk it over nicely. I was just joking," it said in a tender and cute childish voice. "My name is Cheng Qing. Why didn't you just say it earlier? You had to make me do it before you accepted your fate." Liu Kaoye was very proud and told it mercifully, "Hey, don't say that. I don't know how to reciprocate. My name is Liu Kaoye." "Hello, Sister Kaoye," Cheng Qing greeted it obediently. Liu Kaoye was fed up. "Don't call me that. At your age, you are more than qualified to be my grandfather or ancestor. Don't you feel guilty about calling me sister?" "Well, I can't call you sister." Cheng Qing hesitated for a while and asked tentatively, "How about calling you granddaughter?" Phew. Laughter rang out in the main channel, and everyone teased, "Kaoye made a lot of money on this mission. I found a grandfather for you," Kaoye Lin Miaomiao said with grief. "How do you embarrass Grandpa Liu by doing this?" Liu Kaoye rolled her eyes in anger, especially after hearing Liu Yifei's laughter. She was even more furious, and said viciously, "Liu Yifei, you can still laugh. If he is my grandfather, then he is your ancestor." Liu Yifei's laughter stopped abruptly. You recognized your own grandfather. It has nothing to do with me." "Why does it have nothing to do with me? Don't forget, you are my nephew." Liu Kaoye was simply not kind anymore. If she was going to be embarrassed, she had to find someone to take the blame. Wow, such shocking news. Everyone in Shenyu was instantly in an uproar. If it meant nephew, then Liu Yifei wouldn't have to call Liu Kaoye auntie. Kaoye would have been a grandmother. Everyone was stunned. Liu Yifei's great-grandfather was still going strong, his youngest daughter even younger than his great-grandson. No wonder they acted like ordinary teammates in the fleet. Such a generational relationship was truly confusing. It was all because of the Liu family's great-grandfather's fertility. Others married for over a decade before having a baby, even with IVF, which was difficult to achieve. He married at 23, had a chubby boy the following year, and a son a few years later. After 5 sons, he finally settled down. He thought that was the perfect ending, but when he was 80, his wife got pregnant again, this time with a little princess. Liu Yifei was now filled with regret. Having an aunt younger than him was unfortunate enough, but even more unfortunate was joining the fleet, and having their relationship exposed. He could only imagine the dark days that lay ahead. "Hey, team members, please shift your attention away from the gossip. Don't forget what we are doing now." Gu Qingheng kindly came to the rescue. Although they still wanted to dig deeper, the mission was important after all, and everyone was not the kind of person who didn't know the importance of things. So they stopped discussing the relationship between the Liu family's aunt and her nephew, and shifted their attention back to Yu Tang Changqing. At this critical moment, Liu Kaoye went on strike. "Since everyone likes to talk so much, just have a good chat with Yu Tang. I won't get involved in all this, everyone. They are on strike. Can we still be happy teammates?" Liu Kaoye said she would not do it. And she retreated behind the crowd without saying a word. The superior Gu Qingheng couldn't do anything with her. He could only sigh that he had carefully selected but found an adjutant with a strong personality. However, Gu Qingheng still didn't want to take over the matter of communicating with the strange vine. After thinking about it, he found a scapegoat. "Yifei, it's you who pissed off your aunt. The rest of the matter is up to you." Liu Yifei burst into tears. How could it be his fault again? Everyone has a share, okay? Now that everything has been put on him, he didn't dare to give up. He could only grit his teeth and walk to the edge of the cliff and said to the strange vine, "That broken vine, listen to me, tell me everything you know, otherwise I will set it on fire, and no one will save you this time." Cheng Qing was secretly happy because he had choked Liu Kaoye back. He thought his skill in pretending to be stupid was pretty good, and he could even fool humans. However, he didn't expect that his joy would turn into sorrow. He actually lured out one of the evil spirits who set the fire in the beginning. All the vines felt bad. "Well, let's talk it over nicely," Chang Qing pleaded tenderly. "I'm just organizing my thoughts and trying to figure out how to put it. Have you done yet?" "This young master's patience is limited," Liu Yifei urged impatiently. "If you're ready, speak up. I'll tell you now." Chang Qing didn't care anymore. Since they were so determined to go down and die, then so be it. Chang Qing waved a vine and explained the situation below the cliff. There was indeed an underground palace here, over 2,000 years old. It wasn't built by the beasts, but rather by a failed psychic who brought his men here during the chaotic era of establishing a new order after the apocalypse, hoping to develop their strength there. Initially, this force grew rapidly, and the psychics who focused on their cultivation made rapid progress. However, as time passed, internal divisions arose. The leading psychic had grown accustomed to this comfortable life and wanted only to reign supreme on this planet, unwilling to be embroiled in the intrigues of the world. Then one day, civil unrest erupted in the underground palace. Ambitious individuals forced the leader to step down, hoping to replace him. The leader, naturally, refused, and he had his own hidden agenda. The two sides engaged in a fierce battle for control, ultimately resulting in a mutually devastating outcome. The leader, shrewd and calculating, had planned a plan even when constructing the underground palace. Seeing his own fate threatened, he decisively activated a trap, preventing anyone in the main hall from escaping. Day after day, year after year, no human set foot there, and the underground palace fell silent. That is, until a beast, fleeing from its predators, stumbled upon the palace, finding numerous crystal cores within. It then retreated and cultivated until it reached the 7th level. It emerged, vanquished its predators, and became the king of the beasts. From then on, the underground palace became a haven for the beasts. Any beast with awakened intelligence could cultivate within, if they so desired. Once inside the underground passages, no matter what species, they could not inflict harm upon one another, lest they be slain by the king. If there were any personal grudges to be settled, they could simply leave the underground palace and return to the cliffs to resolve them freely, even if it meant a fight to the death or mutual destruction. While cultivation in the underground palace was safe, food was scarce, so the exotic beasts still needed to forage. Flying exotic beasts were convenient, able to soar to the cliffs on their own, but those that couldn't fly were more problematic. Eventually, the exotic beast king set his sights on Changqing. Changqing was only a level 6 exotic vine, significantly weaker than the exotic beasts and plants of the same rank. To survive, he agreed to the exotic beast king's terms and provided convenience for the exotic beasts to ascend and descend. "So, whenever I'm in a good mood, I'll just send them up. When I'm in a bad mood, I'll make the vines into a ladder shape and let them climb up by themselves," Chang Qing boasted proudly. "They don't dare to bother me." Liu Yifei gritted his teeth. "This broken vine, you've been telling the story of protection for a long time, but you didn't tell me clearly how many strange beasts there are in it, and what kind of strange beast a king of the strange beasts is. Are you deliberately delaying time and want to ask for help from the strange beasts below?" "No, no, how could I dare?" Chang Qing's vines danced and circled, as if shaking its hands to deny Liu Yifei's guess. "If you can really eliminate the strange beasts below, I will be so happy." If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 439 Underground Palace Situation. After telling the story for a long time without any good results, Chang Qing was busy asking about the current situation. He was also depressed. How impatient. I should have stopped telling them stories earlier. After being bored for hundreds and thousands of years, he finally met some people to chat with. Unfortunately, none of them were good chat partners. It really disappointed Yi Teng. "What are you hesitating about?" Liu Yifei shouted unhappily. "Hurry up and give me the answer, or you won't see the sun tomorrow." "I won't see the sun tomorrow anyway," Chang Qing said seriously. "It will rain heavily tomorrow, and the sun won't come out." Everyone wanted to curse at him after hearing this. Liu Yifei's forward veins were throbbing. He didn't want to say anything more and just fired the barrel of the firebomb. "Keep going off topic, Alice, there is no love in this world anymore," Chang Qing sighed, but just when everyone was about to take action, he began to introduce the situation of the strange beasts in the underground palace. There were quite a few exotic beasts in the underground palace, Hundreds if not thousands, all of them level 4 or higher. 2/3 couldn't fly, while the rest were flying beasts, and most of these were snake-like reptiles. Controlling the underground palace was a peak level 7 mutant giant python, a thunder-type beast, ranked first in strength on the entire planet. He had a bad temper and was the boss of the underground palace. Any exotic beast that disobeyed his command would be beaten and thrown out. Anyone who coveted control of the underground palace would face more than just expulsion. So, you're not enough. If you go down there, you might not come back, Chang Twing said earnestly, but his childish voice made his words sound funny no matter how you listened. Lin Miaomiao was at a loss for words. They just needed reinforcements because they didn't have enough people. It wouldn't take more than a few days anyway. But she was worried about this strange vine. You're telling us what's going on inside like this? Aren't you afraid you'll scare us away and leave no one to help you deal with the strange beasts down there? Then you'll be burned by the python? Just burn it, there's nothing I can do, Chang Twing said helplessly. In fact, the mutant python already disliked it. The decent Earth-type strange beasts were trying to open a new passage connecting to the upper level. Once that passage was opened, it would probably be in danger. It had been worrying about this for a while. It was too weak to resist, and there were no high-level strange plants on this planet to help. Was it just going to wait here to be burned to ashes? It wasn't until Shen Yu and her group arrived that it saw hope. So it took the initiative to expose its identity as a strange plant to see what the other party would do. If humans insisted on destroying it, it would have no choice but to ask for help from the mutant pythons in the underground palace. After all, it could still be useful before the passage was successfully opened. As for whether what it had just said would be known to the king of the alien beasts, it could only say that even the weakest alien plant possessed a unique skill, and its unique skill was to create a small-scale protective sound barrier. Their conversation would not be leaked unless humans betrayed it. Well, I didn't expect you to be quite useful, Liu Yifei praised it generously. Then asked about the distribution of the alien beasts in the underground palace. What level are most of them? What proportion are level 5 and level 6? Besides that mutant python, are there any level 7 alien beasts? Silly, of course there are more level 4, Chang Twing said, puffing up at the compliment. Could it be possible that all of them can cultivate into level 6 or level 7 alien beasts? The alien beasts race also determines its future development. For example, those alien beasts born at level 1 to 3 have not yet awakened their spiritual intelligence and do not even know how to cultivate. Unless they encounter a fortuitous encounter, they are likely to remain stationary for their entire lives, unable to advance to level 4. As for those alien beasts naturally endowed with intelligence, the stronger their race, the more detailed their inherited memories and the more refined their methods for cultivating supernatural powers. With time, they could potentially become high-level alien beasts, even transforming, like the snake python clan. As for low-level alien beasts like the bloodthirsty ants, only the queen could hope to reach high-level status. Because the bloodthirsty ants rely solely on instinct to grow their strength in battle, accepting the queen's orders but lacking a grasp of her cultivation methods, they will always remain second-level alien beasts. In the dungeon, there are approximately 700 fourth-level alien beasts, a little over 200 fifth-level beasts, and very few sixth-level beasts, less than 30. Besides the mutant giant python, the only 7th-level beast is a newly advanced blue fire wolf. 2 7th-level alien beasts, Yi Hongwen frowned. It seemed this underground palace was truly untouchable. Fortunately, he had received the tip, otherwise he couldn't guarantee he could escape unscathed. Captain Yi, Li Enho asked hesitantly, are we still going down? He felt it best not to. No, let's stop here today. Let's go back to the ship first. This matter is no longer something that Shen Yu can handle, Yi Hongwen answered without hesitation. Shen Yu has only so many people, and a small number of them are third-level mecha masters. He will not act recklessly just to win credit. Li Enho breathed a sigh of relief. There's an underground palace underneath, and it was once inhabited by people with special abilities. According to the unwritten rules of the army, whatever the fleet that enters finds is their trophy. He was afraid that the captain of Shen Yu would do anything for the sake of profit. After making the decision, the group prepared for a strategic retreat. Before leaving, the frustrated Liu Kaoyer said to Chang Qing, we have to go back and wait for reinforcements. It will probably take a few days before we can come again. I hope that the giant python will not know about your betrayal and kill you. Chang Qing was depressed. Human beings are really complicated. It clearly provided intelligence, but did not even send someone to protect it. It was actually left to fend for itself. It was really too cruel. You bunch of bad guys, Chang Qing complained in a tender voice. Can't you just help me? How? Liu Yifei asked. Are you supposed to take you back? Chang Qing choked. It was an alien planned, and being taken back to human territory would be like sending a sheep into a tiger's mouth. Even if they were willing, it wouldn't dare go. After thinking for a moment, it made a request. I want to stay near you for now, and wait until the alien beasts are eliminated before returning to the cliff. After this request, the temporary channel fell into chaos. Some people thought it was acceptable. Although Chang Qing had a somewhat eccentric temperament, he didn't hate humans. It wouldn't be a problem for him to stay. Some planets in the Federation also had domesticated alien plants, which could be used to protect homes and prevent theft. Others felt it couldn't be agreed. The alien vine looked harmless now, but there was no guarantee it was harmless. What if it harbored evil intentions and harmed the miners in the future? Lin Miaomiao felt it was a shame to see the exotic plant die. It was a rare sight to encounter a wild exotic plant that coexists with humans, so she couldn't help but offer a suggestion. Our base is so large, and there's a lot of empty space. It would be great to transplant it there to guard the walls and the grounds. There are no ordinary people in the fleet, and there are surveillance cameras and robot guards everywhere. If there's real danger, we don't have to worry about being late to rescue people. This suggestion was immediately agreed by most of the team members, and even a few members of the assessment team thought it was feasible. Ye Hongwen pondered, this vine is too huge. It's probably difficult to bring it back. Chapter 440 Snake Soup and Roasted Bear Meat. In the end, Chang Qing solved the problem on his own. As a level 6 vine, it had the ability to grow and shrink. While it couldn't shrink to the size of a palm, it could still grow into a 2 or 3 meter long vine. Sadly, Chang Qing couldn't pull out its roots and run around, so it had to ask someone to dig them out. The unskilled digger accidentally broke several roots, leaving it heartbroken. Roots are a vital part of my body for absorbing nutrients. Breaking a few means I'll lose a lot of nutrients. Chang Qing rambled on about the importance of roots to plants. Liu Gaier, growing impatient, threatened, if you keep nagging, I'll break a few more. Chang Qing instantly shut down. Unwilling to take any chances, it obediently wrapped itself around the green mech's arm and followed them back. There was no growing medium aboard the Shanyu, so Liu Gaier fetched a large basin from the kitchen, shoveled some oil in it, watered it, and let Chang Qing make do. Chang Qing asked, swallowing his anger, can I take up roots beneath the ship first, and then take me with you when you return home? Our mission is to clear the energy star, and the warship could be moved at any time. If you're willing to be dug up from time to time, Liu Gaier replied. The vine, several of its roots already broken, decisively agreed to be potted. While Liu Gaier and Chang Qing were engaged in a duel of wits and courage, Lin Miaomiao went into the kitchen. It was still early for dinner, so she decided to give everyone a snack, using the armored snakes and earth bears she'd harvested today. Entering the kitchen, she ran into Shen Shizhen, who was leaving after putting away the ingredients, and casually greeted him. Hello, Shizhen. Shen Shizhen was stunned for a moment, then replied formally, hello, Captain's wife, Lin Miaomiao, who taught him that. There are several ways to make snake soup, and Lin Miaomiao, having never made it before, chose a simpler one. Boil water with tangerine peel, shred the snake meat and ham, and toss it into the pot to simmer. When dealing with the armored snake, they encountered a problem. The skin was too tough to peel. After a long time, she was about to give up. Finally, Shen Jiayu came up with a solution. He simply removed the snake's head and used a long knife to remove the meat from the inside. After all, the giant snake was so thick that after removing the front, the others could run inside, without worrying about not being able to remove the meat. Of course, removing the meat was Shen Jiayu's job. Lin Miaomiao was unwilling to enter the snake's body, even if it was dead and only the skin was left after they had stripped it. Having never cooked snake soup before, Lin Miaomiao had no idea how it would taste. Although she had made this dish, she didn't plan to eat it herself. Shen Yi and the other 3 robots couldn't eat, so she decided to call someone to taste it. As for the person, of course, it was Zhang Qi, who had fought the giant snake with her. Zhang Qi had been the one to invent the armored snake. Lin Miaomiao didn't mind, willing to fight alongside her teammates. But that didn't mean she'd let Zhang Qi, who had pierced the giant snake's nest, off easily. So, after calling her over, she didn't explain what the fragrant delicacy in the pot was made of. Only after Zhang Qi, with a look of ecstasy on her face, devoured half a bowl of snake soup and asked what kind of meat it was. Did Lin Miaomiao reveal the answer? This is the strange beast you fought with me today. I think this delicious dish is due to your contribution, so I specially let you taste it first. Zhang Qi began to recall the strange beast she fought with the goddess today. It seemed that only the white-armored snake was there that day. So, the thing cooked in this pot must be. Thinking of that majestic and murderous white giant snake, which was now skinned, chopped into strips and thrown into the pot to cook, and most importantly, she ate it. Zhang Qi's face turned pale. Goddess, how could you do this to me? The tone of resentment and accusation, as if the person standing in front of her was a heartless man, successfully made Lin Miaomiao shiver. Haha, I saw you were working so hard at killing the giant snake, so I'm giving you a little treat. Just think about that giant snake that chased you so hard it's now in your stomach. What a sense of accomplishment, Zhang Qi pouted, not caring that the person in front of her was her goddess. She crossed her arms and muttered in dissatisfaction, "You're just bullshitting. You're just bullshitting. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. Where did the aloof and ethereal goddess go? How did she become this idiot with a blank face?" Zhang Qi suddenly felt that life was so bleak. "What can I do?" Lin Miaomiao said calmly, changing the subject. "Okay, I have to go see how the barbecue is going. If you want some snake soup, you can order another bowl." After saying this, Lin Miaomiao floated towards the small oven not far away. There, the meat of a violent earth bear was roasting, and the aroma was even more fragrant than the snake soup. Zhang Qi, who was left next to the snake soup, blinked and looked at the big pot hesitantly. The thought of snake meat in it made her depressed, but the aroma was so tempting and the taste was good. Should she eat it or not? After much hesitation, someone with a pale face finally picked up the bowl. Thinking about that abominable big snake, now was the time for revenge. How could she miss the delicious food because of fear? Lin Miaomiao, who was standing by the oven and peeking, was amazed. Could it be that the snake soup was so delicious that even people who were afraid of snakes could eat it so sweetly? As a foodie, it would be a bit bad to miss out on such a delicious dish. Zhang Qi drank 2 bowls of snake soup, and her face became rosy again. She ran to the oven with great energy and started walking around. What kind of meat is being roasted in here? It can't be snake meat again, no. Lin Miaomiao shook her head with a wooden face. This is the meat of the violent earth bear. There are 3 of them anyway, so let's roast one for everyone to try. Bear meat. Zhang Qi's mouth was almost watering. She heard that bear paws are delicious, but come to think of it, there seemed to be nothing shaped like bear paws in the translucent oven. Could it be that they were not put in? Lin Miaomiao said very bluntly, there are only a few bear paws. There are not enough to share after roasting them. I might as well keep them and cook for myself in the future. Zhang Qi felt sick all over. They were so self-righteous in cooking for themselves. Goddess, are you really okay with this? In order to shut up the insiders, after the meat was roasted, Lin Miaomiao cut a palm-sized piece and gave it to the people who were watching eagerly. Such a small piece. Zhang Qi was quite disappointed. Can I have another one? Lin Miaomiao frowned. She remembered Qi as a cheerful and kind-hearted child. When did she become so shameless? Could it be that she was led astray after joining the fleet? Such bad habits should not be tolerated. There are only so many. If you think it's not enough, just give it back to me and get the big one when you eat. Zhang Qi was dumbfounded. How could she give back the meat that was already in her mouth? Absolutely not. She immediately slipped out with the meat in her arms, in order to avoid everyone seeing me stealing it. Goddess, I'm leaving first. Lin Miaomiao snorted lightly without answering, but did not stop her. She continued to instruct Shay to cut the barbecue into pieces of similar size. After that, she took out the insulated lunchbox and put a few pieces in it. Chapter 441, Captain Zi's Injury. The snake soup and the barbecue were both ready, and Chen Jiayu had also prepared the original 3 dishes and 1 soup. Lin Miaomiao, with some idle thoughts, thought of Zi Mu, who should still be lying in the repair cabin. Suddenly, she felt unsympathetic. He was a military evaluator and team leader, so she had to prepare a hospital meal for him. Well, the barbecue was too greasy, and some people couldn't handle the snake soup, so she'd better not prepare it. The boiled fish fillets were too spicy, and the edamame were too tough to chew, only the bok choy was edible. But one dish seemed too monotonous, so she asked Chen Yu to add white tofu and braised pork liver. The tofu was tender, and the pork liver was a blood-tonifying dish. Oh, and there was soup. Their evening soup was winter melon and pork rib soup. Team leader Zhi had lost a lot of blood, so she decided to make him some black chicken soup to nourish him. Chen Yu neatly prepared the hospital meal according to her instructions, packed it all into the kitchen's shared lunchbox, and set it aside. The assessment team would definitely come to pick up Zhimu's meal later, so she wouldn't be so kind as to send it to the ward. The assessment team was considered guests on board, but starting the next day, they lined up directly in the kitchen for meals, receiving no special treatment. Zhimu and Yan Sehun wanted to protest, but were stopped by Lian Ho and the others. After dinner began, the Shen Yu team, having already received word of the extra meal, lined up in the kitchen early. The 7 members of the assessment team arrived together, only to be met with a long line. They were immediately struck by the strangeness. "Hey, what's going on today? Everyone's here so early," Tian Zhihan said, looking around, then at the dining area. Noticing 2 extra-large basins, he speculated, could it be an extra meal today? Yu Hongbo, who was passing by with a tray of food ready, remarked, "Yes, there's an extra meal today. The little cook personally made 2 delicious dishes. We're in for a treat tonight." Tian Zhihan and the others stared in amazement. The Shen Yu team had clearly been notified, so why hadn't they been notified? Their eyes were truly narrow-minded. "They're bullying us." Tian Zhihan was so angry that he was shaking all over. "We are still guests. Not only do we not get any special treatment, but they didn't even inform us that we were adding extra meals." Li Enho didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Their dishes are very generous. Even if we catch them late, it doesn't matter. There's no need to be so angry." Tian Zhihan snorted lightly and didn't respond. This matter was very serious. At the very least, it was negligence, and at the most, it was simply not taking them seriously. "If you are so angry, why don't you just not eat?" Yao Hong, another level 5 mecha master from the evaluation team, said with a grin, "To protest your dissatisfaction, do you take me for a fool? No one will notice if I don't eat." Tian Zhihan rolled his eyes at him. "Besides, I have to pack a portion for the team leader. Actually, there are not many people in Shanghai, so the food is served quite quickly," Yao Hong said with some anticipation. "I wonder how good the cooking skills of the little cooks they talk about are. Can they compare with the chefs in the military?" "Of course not," Tian Zhihan said disdainfully. The Shen Yu team member standing in front of him glanced back and said nonchalantly, "Brother, since you're not optimistic about the young cook's cooking, why don't you give me your share?" Tian Zhihan's face suddenly darkened. He opened his mouth to say something, but Yao Hong behind him pinched him like a reminder. He could only shut his mouth silently. As for the food, of course, he wouldn't give up. When it was their turn, Tian Zhihan took his own share and asked to bring one for the team leader in the repair cabin. He expected the intelligent robot to ask for his name, but Shen Jiayu readily brought 2 insulated lunchboxes from the side. "A nutritious meal for team leader Z, a blood-boosting meal," Shen Jiayu said. Tian Zhihan was a little surprised. It seemed that the Shen Yu team wasn't that bad. They actually remembered to make a nutritious meal for their team leader. Li Enho behind him was a little skeptical. It seemed that Zhimu had offended the young cook who managed the kitchen. It was hard to say what was in the patient meal. During the meal, Tian Zhihan and the others raved about the snake soup and roasted bear meat. Their resentment at having their violent earth bear stolen had dissipated considerably, and they even ate an extra bowl of rice. After finishing their meal, as they were about to put their plates away, Li Enho suggested, "Bring out the nutritious meal. I wonder what they've prepared." Tian Zhihan looked at him warily. "This is for the team leader. If you're still hungry, ask Chen Jiayu for more." Li Enho was helpless. Unable to admit that he suspected the food wouldn't suit the team leader's taste, he suppressed his suspicions, returned the plates, and followed his teammates to the infirmary. By then, Zhimu had already emerged from the repair chamber. Dr. Ji tossed and turned him, examining him from head to toe, and concluded, "There's nothing wrong with him. He's just been lying in the chamber for too long, absorbing too much repair fluid. You might get some acne for the next few days, with no place to use the excess repair fluid, which can't be stored in the body for long. It's excreted through the pores, which can easily clog them and cause acne." "What? Acne?" Zhimu couldn't believe his ears. If he had acne at such an old age, wouldn't he be laughed to death? We absorbed more repair fluid before and it was fine. Why this time? Could it be that this doctor did something? You know, the assessment team would not bring a military doctor when they go on a mission. Every time they were injured, everyone would go directly into the repair cabin and lie down for a few hours. Gu Yang rolled his eyes and sneered coldly, the situation is different. Before, you were injured and lay in bed, and the repair fluid would definitely digest most of it, but this time, what happened this time? Zhu suddenly had a bad premonition, but he still forced himself to be calm. Isn't it also an injury? Gu Yang replied with a forced smile, it's just a very minor internal injury caused by the gravity in the mecha cabin after you fell into coma, and then you lost some blood. Lying down for an hour is enough. As for the cause of the coma, it's liver key stagnation and anger, huh? Tianzihan, who rushed in with a lunchbox in one hand, was confused. Captain, why were you still angry when you were fighting the monster? Who made you angry? Was it Captain Yi? I said that this guy has a cold face all day long, and he doesn't look good. What does it have to do with me if he's not a good person? Zhu said angrily, I'm angry at you, idiot. Gu Yang narrowed his eyes instantly. They dared to slander their captain even though they were on Shen Yu's territory. Did they think their life was too comfortable? Stop joking, Li Enhe interrupted when he saw that the situation was not good. Doctor, when will our leader's injury be healed? The others also wanted to know, so they all looked at Gu Yang, waiting for his answer. Gu Yang raised his eyebrows. Didn't I say that his injuries are all healed? He just needs some pimples in the next few days. You can leave now. After that, he directly kicked people out. If you have nothing to do, leave quickly. I still have to go to eat. The 8 people in the evaluation team were rudely kicked out. Gu Yang locked the door of the examination room with a click and went to eat in a swagger. After he left, Tianzihan suddenly reacted, where's my repair cabin? The repair cabin where the boss was lying just now has not been returned to me. Chapter 442 Repair Cabin Dispute. Gu Yang had disappeared without a trace. Tianzihan was about to chase him, but was stopped by Zemu. Why are you in such a hurry? The repair cabin won't run away if it's left there. Come back to him later to ask for it, but the repair cabin is very expensive. What if they don't admit it later? Tianzihan said aggrievedly. Zemu snorted, this is not a strange beast. It's medical equipment we bought. I don't believe they dare to take it. This made a lot of sense. Tianzihan could only suppress his worries and followed his teammates to the leader's temporary room on the 3rd floor. Zemu sat down at the dining table in the room, and the others also found a place to sit. Only Tianzihan diligently helped him open the lunchbox and took out the food one by one, cabbage, white tofu, and fried pork liver. Why are all the dishes the same? Zemu frowned. Is Chen Yu really that poor? Li Enhe and the others exchanged glances, and Tianzihan blurted out, that's not right. What we ate tonight wasn't. Zihan, Li Enhe interrupted. Though he was only halfway through, Zemu understood what was going on, his anger instantly flaring up. Zihan means my food is different, worse than dinner? Tianzihan could see the team leader's anger, but he didn't dare to nod, so he could only ask his teammates for help. Li Enhe held his forehead. He had been quick to talk just now, but after spilling the beans, he was afraid to speak again. This guy was really something. It's not bad, actually, Yo Hong explained with a grin. Chen Jiayu said it's a nutritious meal for replenishing blood. Look at that black chicken soup, isn't it fragrant? Yes, the black chicken soup is fragrant, much more fragrant than our pork rib soup. Tianzihan nodded enthusiastically. Zemu's face darkened. Never mind. I'll eat first. You guys tell me about what you've learned. Tianzihan lit up at this, no longer feeling depressed. He spoke animatedly about his recent encounters, especially the strange vine and the underground palace. After struggling to finish his dinner, Zemu, feeling unhappy, urged Tianzihan, didn't you say you didn't get your repair pod back? Dr. G should have finished his meal by now. Hurry to the infirmary. Everyone else, go back to your rooms and rest. Tianzihan nodded, also thinking about his own pod, and obediently ran out. Li Enhe and the others also went back to their rooms to rest. By then, Gu Yang had finished dinner and was leisurely pacing the consultation room. He and another military doctor were the only ones on this mission, one on the day shift and the other on the night shift. This meant they didn't even have time for a walk after dinner. To avoid gaining weight, He had to settle for a stroll around his room. He was surprised to see Tian Zihan come in. "Why are you here again? Are you injured too? Or do you have a fever or are you sick?" "No." Tian Zihan widened his eyes. "Why are you so bad-mouthed? Do you have to be sick or injured to come here?" Ji Yang looked innocent. "This is the infirmary. Apart from seeing a doctor, the only place here is to visit patients. But team leader Zhu has already gone back. Who are you visiting?" "I'm not here to visit a patient either," Tian Zihan said impatiently. "I'm here to find you." "What? To find me?" Ji Yang took a few steps back in horror. "I know I'm handsome, but I'm not interested in men. You'd better go away." Tian Zihan felt a lump in his throat. Why is this guy so narcissistic? Looking at his appearance, let alone saying that he doesn't like the same sex, he would look down on them even if he did. "Don't talk nonsense to me. I'm here to get the repair chamber. Give it back to me immediately." "Repair chamber?" Ji Yang blinked. "That's our infirmary's. How can I give it to you?" "What do you mean yours? The repair chamber our team leader just used is obviously mine," Tian Zihan said in horror. "You're not trying to embezzle it, are you? A repair chamber costs hundreds of thousands of credits. The people of Shenyu wouldn't be so bold as to embezzle it." But what he didn't expect was that Ji Yang simply denied it. "I didn't see your repair chamber. The repair chamber that the robot nurse brought up has the Shenyu logo printed on it. If you don't believe me, come with me to the next door and take a look." Tian Zihan didn't believe it, so he followed him to the next door and found that the repair chamber there was indeed printed with the Shenyu logo, a full moon about to fall into the water. "No, you must have hidden it somewhere else." Tian Zihan's eyes were red. "That's our assessment team's thing. How dare you swallow it? Hand it over to me quickly, otherwise." Ji Yang sighed helplessly. "It's no use for you to threaten me. Look, the repair cabin is numbered. This is number 1, and numbers 2 to 10 are all in it. You can go and have a look." As he said, there are also several repair cabins in the inner room of the inspection room, all printed with a Shenyu logo and number, without exception. But this didn't mean anything. Most people in the fleet had a space button, so it wasn't impossible for it to be hidden inside. Tian Zihan suppressed his anger and said, "Everyone saw me take out the repair chamber. Did you put it away?" Ji Yang still denied it. "Your team leader was lying in the number 1 repair chamber just now. He was conscious when he came out. If you don't believe me, we can go to the cockpit and check the surveillance records. The repair chamber cannot be opened while it is in operation. If it is opened midway, it will cause unpredictable harm to the patient." Zhongyu was obviously not feeling unwell just now. Tian Zihan thought about it and agreed to check the surveillance records. The cockpit cannot be entered casually. Ji Yang solemnly sent a video to Ye Hongwen to explain the situation. After obtaining temporary access, he took Tian Zihan there. Ye Hongwen knew about it, so he naturally had to rush to the cockpit to take a look. By the way, he dug up Zimu who had just laid down on the bed and wanted to rest. The repair cabin is a valuable item. It's better for Captain Z to come together as a witness. A group of people entered the cockpit and asked the monitor to retrieve the surveillance records of the inspection room. They watched the situation of Zimu leaving the repair cabin and saw that he had indeed come out of the Shenyu number 1 repair cabin. Tian Zihan was instantly confused. What went wrong? Why did his repair cabin become Shenyu's repair cabin? Zimu said with a dark face, "Zihan, you guys go on the mecha and take a look. Find out the surveillance records of the mecha and see what happened when you put me in the repair cabin. Shenyu has records, and they have them too. They should take them all out to see what the right way to solve the problem is." Tian Zihan's eyes lit up, and he was about to release the mecha on the spot, but was stopped by Gu Qingheng. "Sorry, mechas are not allowed in the cockpit. Please go to the open space next to the cabin door." What a hassle, Tian Zihan muttered unhappily, but he couldn't tear his face off before the result came out, so he could only swallow his anger and walk out of the cockpit. Chapter 443, full of deception skills. For some reason, Zimu had a bad feeling he might stumble. He sent a message to his teammates, confirming that the repair potty was lying and was indeed taken out by Tian Zihan. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. To be on the safe side, he ordered Li Yanhu and the others to rush to the ship's gate, where only mechas could be boarded. When they arrived, they found several members of the Shenyu team already waiting there. It was Ji Yang who called all the other teammates over to watch the action, especially Lin Miaomiao, whom he emphasized was her presence. Before leaving the dormitory, Ye Hongwen, with a strange look on his face, told his girlfriend to go with the others to the ship's gate later. After receiving a message from Dr. G, she called Liu Kaoyu and the others over. Tian Zhihun rushed over and immediately summoned his mecha to check the records. Li Enhu and the other 6 hesitated for a moment before boarding their own mechas, leaving the doors of their mecha bays open to verify they hadn't cheated. Given the specific time of the incident, the investigation and record-keeping process was quick. Before long, Tian Zhihun exclaimed in disbelief, "How could this be? I clearly took out the mecha pod, and now it's being taken out by a robot nurse." Li Enhu and the others saw the same scene, leaving them puzzled. Could it be that the extraordinary events of the past had clouded their memories? Maybe we were so flustered just now that we misremembered it, Li Enhu said hesitantly. The Shenyu surveillance footage could be falsified, but their mechas were always in their own spaceships, so it couldn't be faked. Yao Hong and the others nodded in agreement. It was possible that the team leader had suddenly collapsed that morning, and his memory had slipped in the confusion. Only Tian Zhihun refused to relent. It's normal for one person to misremember, but how could it be possible for several people to misremember it? But your repair pods don't have numbers, right? And the surveillance footage shows that your team leader emerged from our Shenyu number 1 repair pod, Gu Yang retorted. To prove his point, he even played the surveillance footage he had copied from the cockpit. Li Enhu was completely bewildered. This was the first time he'd encountered such a daunting situation. He'd better resolve this quickly and go back to rest. The mission assessment had gone terribly wrong, and word had already reached the military. They were in for a major storm. Tian Zhihun refused to concede, but Ji Yuang had surveillance footage from both sides as proof. Add to that the surveillance footage from all the assessment team's mechas, and the situation became stalemated. Dr. Ji Yuang, when calling his teammates to come and watch the fun, casually mentioned, the assessment team took the repair pod that our robot nurse had removed and gave it to team leader Z, but now they're claiming it's theirs and trying to steal it. Combining all that had happened and Ji Yuang's surveillance footage, Lin Miaomiao understood what had happened. While she had no idea when the fleet's repair pods were labeled and numbered, that didn't stop her from joining in the fun. So she interrupted with a wooden face, "I didn't notice which repair chamber Assessor Tian used this morning, but I found a few problems. When a member of your assessment team was injured during a mission, was he the first one to take out the repair chamber and put the injured in it?" Tian Zhihun didn't say anything. Li Enhu glanced at him and nodded in acknowledgement. It was indeed him. Because Zhihun has been in the team for a short time, he usually walks in the middle and has fewer chances of getting injured, so the task of treating the wounded was given to him. Captain Z, as the strongest mecha operator among you, must rarely get injured, especially those who are unconscious in mechas, Lin Miaomiao asked again. Yes, Li Enhu did not deny it. The team leader is very strong, and he rarely gets hurt even when he's at the vanguard. After all, we're just assessing the danger of the mission, and we don't need to fight to the death with alien beasts. That's right, Lin Miaomiao said calmly, because you're used to scenes like that. When Team Leader Z got into trouble this morning, you were all panicked. When you saw Assessor Tian moving him into the repair cabin, you subconsciously thought he was using his own, but you didn't realize that in his haste he had moved him directly into the repair cabin that a robot nurse had brought out. This speculation seemed reasonable, but Li Enhu felt like something was wrong. He frowned and didn't respond. Instead, Tian Zhihun shouted excitedly, "There's indeed one repair cabin missing from my space button." "How do you explain this?" Lin Miaomiao raised her chin slightly, squinted at him and said arrogantly, "You have to ask yourself that. The repair cabin was in your space button. You're asking me to explain why it's gone missing. Don't you think it's ridiculous? Could I possibly steal something from your space button?" Tian Zhihun was speechless. More accurately, he was panicking. Losing the repair cabin and having to pay compensation was a minor matter, but being accused of poor oversight was a disaster. Most importantly, if everyone thought he'd embezzled the equipment and then threw the blame on Shenyu, what future would he have? "I didn't embezzle," Tian Zhihun muttered to himself, the only thing on his mind. He looked quite pitiful. If you were truly accused of such a crime, it seemed like it was a false accusation. Even if he was in cahoots with Zemu, there was no need to kill him so completely. Lin Miaomiao was conflicted for a while, then decided to smooth things over. "Actually, it's normal to forget to put things in when you're organizing the space button. I often do this. Why don't you go home and look for it after the mission is over?" Miaomiao was right. Gu Qinghang smiled gently. If Captain Z hadn't been suddenly injured this time and needed it, you might not have known that you had forgotten something at home. By the way, how do you feel now, Captain Z? To be honest, we didn't notice that you were not feeling well. We should have let you rest for a day before doing anything. Zimyu felt terrible. The reason why he fainted was really hard to say. He had liver fire and something like that when he was on a mission, especially before he fainted. The robot snatched the body of the violent Earth bear. People would think he was narrow-minded when they heard it. Sometimes, what you fear comes true. At the mention of his fainting, the icy-faced Yi Hongwen apologized. It's my fault after all. I shouldn't have taken those 3 Earth bears. How about returning them to Captain Z? Return them. But I roasted the Earth bears for dinner tonight. Lin Miaomiao hesitated. Can I trade them for the meat of a rank 6 ironclad snake? Zimyu's eyes darkened at this. With just a few words from these two, he had solidified his reputation for being narrow-minded. Would that be another black mark on his reputation? Captain Yi, you're joking. We're all sharing your ship now, so naturally, the exotic beast meat will be yours for unified management. Zimyu forced a smile. Not just now, but until the mission is over, any exotic beasts we kill will belong to Chen Yu. Just consider it food money. Zimyu's heart was bleeding. Some of the exotic beast meat was valuable. They'd surely reaped a lot since entering the underground palace, and now it was all being taken away by the bandits. Chapter 444, Bandits Rob Each Other. The incident in the repair bay ended with Zimyu's apology. Later, Li Enho and the others' memories were clouded, and they all agreed that the surveillance video was correct. It was just that Yan Zihan was too worried about the team leader not noticing. Although Yan Zihan was frustrated, he knew the evidence was irrefutable. It was pointless to argue further. His teammates and team leader disagreed. Even he himself suspected his memory was distorted. He used the ladder provided by the Shenyu team to step down. Logically, Tian Zihan should have hated the Shenyu fleet for such an incident, but after tossing and turning all night, he realized that he hated team leader Zimyu the most. Ever since joining the evaluation team, he had always followed Zimyu's lead, doing everything according to his own wishes. And when he got into trouble, no one stood up for him, not even a word of comfort. Tian Zihan's thoughts were unknown to the Shenyu team members. After their resounding victory, everyone went back to their own places. While outside, they didn't dare to ask. Back in the dormitory, Lin Miaomiao grabbed Yi Hongwen and asked what had happened. Initially, they thought Dr. G was playing a prank on the group because he disliked them, but after hearing the full story, they discovered that the culprits were Captain Yi and Vice Captain Gu Zimyu, a member of the military assessment team, was a well-known figure within the military, known for his lechery, hypocrisy, and reputation-seeking. Unfortunately, he was cautious and wouldn't do anything that would give anyone a reason to accuse him. The military couldn't do anything about him, they couldn't expel him for such groundless accusations. This time, Zimyu's eyes were dishonest, his lecherous gazes lingering on beautiful women like Lin Miaomiao and Ren Jiaojiao, and his ambitions to seize control of the fleet had the fleet in suspense. Yi Hongwen was even more determined to play a trick on him. This time, he fainted in his mecha cabin, giving Captain Yi an opportunity to conspire with Vice Captain Gu to stage this stunt. Even during the cliffside standoff with Chang Qing, Gu Qingheng had taken advantage of everyone's temporary chatroom to hack into their mecha's surveillance systems. He altered the footage of Yan Zihan removing the repair chamber from the space button to show him placing Zimyu into the chamber removed by the robotic nurse. As for the Shenyu logo and number on the repair chamber, that was Dr. Ji Yuang's idea. A functioning repair chamber couldn't be replaced, but wouldn't it be easy enough to paint a logo or number on it? Once the design was complete, he sent the prototype to Gu Qingheng to tamper with the mecha's surveillance records. The cockpit surveillance records were altered during dinner. Even if the assessment team hadn't imagined that Shenyu had a hidden virtual network expert capable of tampering with their mecha's surveillance records without even having access to them, they were set to take the fall. Even if this incident didn't actually hurt Zimyu, it had certainly disgusted him. Besides, now that he was accused of lax discipline, he couldn't possibly interfere in Shenyu's affairs. Furthermore, after entering the underground palace, regardless of which fleet arrives to assist, we can also generously take the alien beasts slain by the assessment team, Yi Hongwen said with a somewhat peculiar expression. Level 6 and Level 7 alien beasts are very valuable. Not only are the meat of mid to high-level alien beasts delicious, but many of their parts are also valuable for research. Many scientists are vying for them, making them incredibly valuable. Lin Miaomiao felt that Ye Hongwen was practically a bandit, as he had embezzled the repair chambers and would receive a substantial amount of money for their meals later. However, Xingyu was already a major bandit, so their actions could only be described as robbing the bandits. Afraid that she would feel guilty, Ye Hongwen went out of his way to explain, there are quite a few medical devices in Tianzihan's space button. These are not issued by the military, but Xingyu got them from others for free. Now that everything was understood, Lin Miaomiao no longer felt guilty, but she still didn't understand. You want to deal with Xingyu, but now it is Tianzihan who is suffering. Doesn't this implicate innocent people? He is innocent. Ye Hongwen seemed to have heard a joke. Xingyu did a lot of things, such as flirting with young girls and accepting bribes. The leader of an assessment team was bribed by someone. This is too easy, but in this way, Tianzihan deserved to be taught a lesson. The assessment team plays a decisive role in determining the mission's difficulty and can also recommend the fleet to carry it out. If they exaggerate the mission's difficulty and recommend it to a fleet that bribed them, then, the military will reward the fleet that carries out the mission based on the mission's difficulty. If a 1-star mission is easily completed, but that mission is rated 2 or 3 stars, the benefits to the fleet carrying it out are enormous. No wonder they were dissatisfied with our reception and attitude. Is it really okay to offend that Z this time? I think he's really mean, Lin Miaomiao sighed. If he can inflate a 1-star mission to 3 stars, then inflating a 3-star mission to 1 star shouldn't be difficult either. If Xingyu harbors ill intentions and labels a suicidal mission a 1-star, wouldn't that be disastrous for Shenyu? Xingyu has a small temper, but I didn't expect him to be this small. Yuang said he was completely pissed off. Ye Hongwen said thoughtfully. I wonder if a few more irritations will make him lose his mind and commit more mistakes. Lin Miaomiao was upset. Shouldn't she be focusing on the potential retaliation she might face in the future? Aren't couples supposed to have telepathy? Why wasn't she on the same wavelength as her boyfriend? Fortunately, Ye Hongwen wasn't stupid. Seeing his girlfriend looking at him with a troubled expression, he immediately realized he'd gotten carried away. He hurried to remedy the situation. Promoting a low star to a high star is fine, but converting a high star to a low star is difficult because there's no guarantee the mission will kill everyone on it. Even if it can, it will attract the attention of the military. Mission evaluators have a heavy responsibility. If a fleet is wiped out due to their miscalculation, they'll end up in interstellar prison for the rest of their lives. So even if Xingyu wanted to do this, someone would stop him. Furthermore, if there were a dangerous mission that could wipe out an entire fleet, mission evaluators like them wouldn't be able to escape. Lin Miaomiao thought for a moment and said. So the assessment team's mission is actually more dangerous than ours, because they face an unknown mission and enemy, right? Ye Hongwen nodded. The assessment team gave the team members a chance to excel, but it also presented unknown dangers. Those who joined the assessment team were either desperate or gamblers. Some were fighting for a chance of survival, while others were motivated by the unknown to become more powerful and gain more money and power. Li Enho was the former, while Xingyu was clearly the latter. Don't overthink it. These things aren't your fault, Ye Hongwen smiled, reaching out to hug her. I won't let anything happen to you, okay? Lin Miaomiao pouted. She was already involved in this matter, so how could it be okay? It would be great if Xingyu could lose his position as team leader. Actually, that Li or something was not bad. It would be great if he could become the leader of the assessment team. Chapter 445, Shameless Rival. After the incident was reported, the military reacted swiftly, ordering Shenyu to remain on standby the next morning, waiting for reinforcements to arrive before clearing the underground palace. Frustratingly, as is often the case in this world, the reinforcements arrived from the Mengjia fleet. The energy star lies at the border of the Jinyun and Kaya star regions. After news of the underground palace reached them, Azure Dragon Captain Yi Zhenang, using the excuse that the Central Core had already dispatched a fleet, seized the task of providing reinforcements. The underground palace was teeming with exotic beasts, including at least 2 7th-tier beasts, so the reinforcements couldn't be too inferior, so Mengjia was chosen. Another unspoken reason was Yi Zhenang's desire to witness his son's festivities. Hearing that Captain Mengjia and his son had some dirty tricks, he felt compelled to give them a chance to resolve their differences. The results were already announced, leaving Ye Hongwen no chance to protest. So, To his father, who had gloated over his misfortune and sent a congratulatory text, he replied, "Send Liu Wan to help. You'd better pray your son returns alive." Regardless of Yu Hanyang's reaction to his son's reply, a distressed Yu Hongwen told his girlfriend, "With a father who's such a traitor to his son, do you still think I'm abnormal now?" Lin Miaomiao shook her head in confusion. No wonder the lively and enthusiastic Yu mother had given birth to such a cold child. It was simply the fault of Yu's father, who always set traps for his son. "Then your sister won't be tricked too, will she?" She began to worry about whether her future sister-in-law would be easy to get along with. No, Yu Hongwen shook his head. With a previous experience as a lesson learned, his mother had already refused to let her husband discipline their daughter again. Lin Miaomiao breathed a sigh of relief. Although she had found the iceberg nice, another iceberg was a bit too much. 2 days later, Meng Jia's warships entered the Energy Star. There were 10 of them, looking very majestic, as if to show their power to Shenyu. Unfortunately, it was still dark when they arrived, and everyone in Shenyu was still in a sweet dream. After dawn, Liu Wan contacted Yi Hongwen with a dark face. "Captain Yi, did you sleep well last night? We made too much noise, and we were afraid that we would wake you up from your sweet dreams." Unexpectedly, everyone in Shenyu had good sleep quality, Yi Hongwen said calmly, "Seeing that it was everyone from Mengjia who came, we night watchmen naturally didn't wake you up. After all, it was still early, and there was nothing important to do in the middle of the night." Liu Wan secretly hated himself. He wanted to accuse the people of Shenyu of being too lax, but who knew that he was tricked by Yi and accused them of coming in the middle of the night with bad intentions. Logically, this mission wasn't urgent. Mengjia's fleet could have landed nearby after entering the energy planet without disturbing the Shenyu fleet. However, Liu Wan, reminiscent of his previous loss, was determined to cause trouble. Instead of causing trouble, he ended up feeling uncomfortable. "Enough of the nonsense, Captain Yi, please send us the details of the underground palace. We, Mengjia, have taken over this mission," Liu Wan said sullenly. Yi Hongwen frowned. Was he trying to steal the mission and the credit? Pulling his lips together, he sneered, "Captain Liu, are you mistaken? The military is sending you here to reinforce, not to take over. Don't you understand the difference?" Liu Wan was speechless. After over a decade as a captain, how could he not understand the difference between reinforcement and taking over? It was simply that he and Yi Hongwen were at odds, and he was trying to take over the mission by relying on Mengjia's superior numbers. It's all right to think and do, but it can't be brought to light. So, when this was exposed, Liu Wan felt guilty and gave a dry laugh, saying, "Don't be ridiculous. I was just thinking Shenyu was short-handed, so I was going to help share some of the pressure. Thank you very much, but we don't need it," Yi Hongwen said indifferently. "Just Mengjia, do the reinforcements. You don't have to bother with anything else." Having failed to achieve his goal, Liu Wan's face darkened to pitch black. An ordinary person would have been terrified to see this, but Yi Hongwen remained unfazed. He simply inquired whether Mengjia's team members wanted to rest for a day before proceeding. While this might have been a kind gesture, Liu Wan saw it as a profound insult and declined without a second thought. They've already rested for a few days on the way here. Why would they need to rest? To avoid looking too embarrassed, Liu Wan managed a fake smile. Yi Hongwen didn't force it, and immediately set a date of 8 a.m. for the underground palace. Word of the reinforcements had spread long before. Over breakfast, Liu Kaoyer slyly eyed Lin Miaomiao again and again, as if she had something to say but didn't know how. Liu Kaoyer was waiting for her friend to grow impatient and ask questions, but Lin Miaomiao remained composed and ignored her gaze, leisurely munching on her steamed bun and sipping soy milk. Finally, the sly Liu couldn't contain herself anymore and yelled, "Miaomiao, how come you're not nervous at all? Your rival's here, aren't you making any preparations?" "Rival?" Lin Miaomiao asked, looking up from between bites of her steamed bun. "Who?" Liu Kaoyer rolled her eyes, scorning her. "Just pretend. Who else could it be but Captain Mengjia's beloved daughter, Liu Jin?" Lin Miaomiao was speechless. That person wasn't worth her attention. She kept saying she loved Yi Bingshan, yet she was causing trouble on the Shenyu. A typical example of someone who only had a pretty face but no brains. Lin Miaomiao was unmoved by Liu's eyes arrival. They'd already fallen out over the previous encounter, and she didn't believe he'd dare to come around again. But she hadn't expected people to be so thick-skinned. Just after breakfast, Liu's eyes video call came in. Before we go on this mission, do you dare challenge me to a Mecha Division battle? Liu Zai, wearing a modified, slim-fitting military uniform, issued a domineering challenge. Whoever loses gets out and goes back to base. Lin Miaomiao didn't respond to her challenge. Instead, she glanced at her protruding hair and asked curiously, "Aren't you afraid of being reported for tampering with your uniform like this? It might affect the image of a soldier." "Who would dare?" Liu Zai scoffed. She was so arrogant in Mengjia that the other vice-captains didn't dare to cause trouble. Lin Miaomiao told her kindly, "I've just taken a screenshot and sent it to the military's complaint email address. You should be prepared to be punished, you villain." Liu Jin's face darkened instantly. She trembled all over and clenched her fists. If it weren't for the screen, her fists would definitely fall on the villain's face. "Thank you for the compliment. Compared to you, an aunt in her 30s, I am indeed still young." Lin Miaomiao deliberately misinterpreted her words, then pretended to flip through the communicator, and when she looked up again, her face was full of surprise. "Oh, my fiancé is looking for me. It's really sad that I was unhappy just after leaving his side. Sorry, I can't chat with you." Although she said sorry, there was no apology on Lin Miaomiao's face. After she finished speaking, she hung up the call neatly without giving Liu Jin a chance to object. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 446, Cheap Sister Can't Be Wanted. Disgusted by her rival, Lin Miaomiao ignored her friend's strange looks and waved cheerfully. "Let's go. We're full, time to gather in the lounge. If we're late, Yi Hongwen won't even take us out to play." With so many people coming to Mengjia, there wouldn't be enough monsters in the underground palace to go around, no matter how many people went to Shenyu. Yi Hongwen's insistence on holding on to the initiative was merely a way to gain some advantage. After all, they had contributed to the discovery of the underground palace. Liu Kaoyer and the others, forgetting Liu Jin from the Mengjia ship, hurried to return their tableware. Not only them, but everyone else in the restaurant also wolfed down their food, as if they were about to be left behind. Before 7:30, the Shenyu group had gathered in the lounge. Gu Qingheng was surprised when he walked in a quarter of an hour early. Why were they all here so early today? Even those who usually arrived on time were already sitting there. It was a good thing that everyone was here early, as it showed that everyone took this mission very seriously and had the right attitude. So Gu Qingheng said with a smile, "Everyone did a good job today. When we get back, let the little cook keep adding extra meals. She'll cook them herself." Everyone cheered instantly. Ever since the little cook started dating, she'd been cooking less and less. They were quite happy when the deputy captain said that. Only one person was unhappy. "Just add extra meals. Why do you insist that I cook them myself? Do you really treat me like a free cook?" "How could that be?" Gu Qingheng smiled like a spring breeze. "You're the future captain's wife. It's normal for you to help the captain reward the soldiers who didn't do their job well." Lin Miaomiao twitched her lips. Damn it, she used to say Kinky was gentle and upright, but now she realized that although he was a little indecisive in dealing with Xiaoran, he was still very decisive at work. He was basically a black-hearted person. Facing such a group, she was helpless and could only say, "If we can harvest plenty of exotic beast meat in there, we'll celebrate with hot pot when we get out." She even made her own hot pot base, which was considered a hands-on experience. "No problem, let's celebrate with hot pot tonight." Everyone cheered, assuming the exotic beasts in the underground palace could be dealt with in a single day, given the size of Mengjia's army. At 8 o'clock sharp, members of both fleets gathered outside the ship. Mengjia had over 1,000 men, 4 or 5 times the number of Shenyu's men. Seeing this, Liu Wan's mind became active again, and he tried to dissuade Shenyu's men from entering the underground palace. "Captain Yi, your team has been here for several days. I heard that many people are injured. Why bother to bring them in?" Liu Wan said hypocritically. "Let the soldiers rest and recuperate. Don't force yourself to get tired," Yi Hongwen said coldly. "Thank you for your concern, Captain Liu, but it's not necessary. They have already rested for 2 days while waiting for you to come. Brother Yi, you don't have to be so polite with my dad." A pink level 5 mecha rushed out of the Mengjia camp, ran to the Black Lotus and stopped next to it. "I want to go into the underground palace with you." Lin Miaomiao in the mecha group was furious. This shameless guy dared to poach people in public. I really want to slap her. He immediately directed Aoksa to rush forward. Before they even got close, the situation there suddenly changed. Black Lotus's AI screamed caustically, "Go away. What the hell is that pink blob? It's disgusting. Master, take me away from it." If the mecha's intelligence could actively control itself, Black Lotus would likely kick away any pink clumps nearby. God knows, it hates anything pink and tender. Yi Hongwen interjected, "Excuse me, Ms. Liu, please return to the Mengjia team. The underground palace is dangerous, and we're so few that I'm afraid I can't guarantee your safety. Also, I only have one sister. Please call me Captain Yi or Comrade Yi, that's okay. You're older than me, so I don't mind calling you brother," Liu Jin said, naturally unwilling, pretending not to understand. "I'm a level 5 mecha pilot. I can protect myself. Don't worry about me. Besides, you're here." The last sentence was filled with shyness and anticipation, making everyone who heard it shudder and mentally exclaim, "I can't stand it." Lin Miaomiao rushed over, pushed the pink away, and said indifferently, "He has to protect me. I'm afraid he doesn't have time to take care of you. Deputy Captain Liu, you'd better go back to your father." Liu Jin gritted her teeth, not wanting to lose her temper in front of Yi Hongwen, so she could only try to get closer again, but this time it was Hail Yan who pushed it away. Her eyes suddenly turned red with grievance. "Brother Yi, how could you do this to me?" "Hey, please don't shout like that," Lin Miaomiao said impatiently. "An old woman in her 30s is acting crazy about someone else's fiancé. You have the nerve to shout like that. I feel like my whole body is getting goosebumps. Aren't you afraid of embarrassing your father?" Lin Miaomiao's words this time were a bit harsh. Not only the people who were ridiculed by her couldn't stand it, even Liu Wan, who was pretending to be stupid, couldn't stand it. "Zixi, come back. Daddy's not old yet, and you can still protect you personally," Liu Wan spoke, and Liu's eye dared not disobey. She could only turn back every few steps as she made her way back to the Mengjia camp, hoping Yi Hongwen would change his mind and call her over. Sadly, she was doomed to disappointment. Fearing further trouble from Mengjia's men, Yi Hongwen took the initiative, saying, "Is everyone here? If so, let's go." To save time, the evergreen, which had once stretched its vines into the underground palace for a tour, was also brought along. It was planted in a large stainless steel basin and carried by Liu Kao's purple mecha. The cliff was not far from where the warships rested, and the mecha reached it at full speed in about 10 minutes. With no strange vines blocking their way, they reached the bottom of the cliff without any trouble. In the center, they saw a large pool of water, surrounded by a circle of weeping willows, surrounded by lush green grass and a vibrant array of colorful flowers. So beautiful, the group from Shenyu paused in mid-air above the green grass, afraid to ruin the view below. Such a beautiful spot is hard to find, and it would be great if they could take some photos. After asking Chang Qing and learning that these were just ordinary flowers and trees, Lin Miaomiao had already begun filming. She even emerged from the mecha's hatch, posing diagonally with her hands on the handrails. The people, the scenery, and the mecha were beautiful. But that expressionless face seemed a little off. "Miaomiao, your true nature is exposed. Why are you still pretending to be expressionless?" Liu Kao, also busy taking photos, couldn't help but grumble. It was just a stiff nerve, uncontrollable, Lin Miaomiao thought to herself, but didn't say it out loud. Instead, she said with a pretentious air, "As a genius mecha pilot, one must possess the quality of remaining calm even when faced with a mountain collapsing. How could you, mediocre mortals, possibly understand that?" Liu Kao was bewildered. Mount High? What was that? Why did Miaomiao keep saying such incomprehensible words? But she still realized that she was being looked down upon, so Adjutant Liu was furious. "Lin Miaomiao, do you dare to have a fair fight with me?" "What is fair? It means getting off the mecha and fighting one-on-one until one side is knocked down." Chapter 447, Finding the Entrance to the Underground Palace. The Shenyu group was so busy enjoying the scenery, taking photos, and settling personal scores that they almost forgot about the Mengjia reinforcements behind them, leaving them stranded. "What are you doing? Blocking the way me there? Are you still going to carry out your mission?" Liu Jin, feeling humiliated, rushed down impatiently, landing directly in a patch of flowers, trampling a large number of them. "What a shame!" The Shenyu group stared at the pink mech with heartache, their eyes blazing. wishing they could beat up the ruthless person who destroyed the flowers. Alright, let's get ready to enter the underground palace, Yi Hongwen finally spoke. He had just been openly giving in to his girlfriend because she liked him, but now that he had been interrupted by such a tactless person, he had to get down to business. They didn't know the entrance to the underground palace, so everyone's eyes were fixed on the arm of the light purple mech, where a pot of vines over 2 meters long was hanging. Cheng Qing, under the spotlight, twisted his body and said in a tender voice, "Hey, stop looking at me like that. Don't you know I'm shy?" Everyone frowned. Did this vine even know what shyness meant? "Stop yelling. With your green face, you'll never be able to fake a blush," Liu Kaoyu complained. "Hurry up and point out the entrance to the underground palace." Cheng Qing was unhappy and sank limply back into the pot, pretending to be dead. "Oh, this pot is too small. My roots are uncomfortable. I wish it were a bigger one." He was actually discussing the conditions for pointing the way, and everyone who realized this felt like eating the strange vine alive. "That's enough. I even had to work hard to snatch this pot from Miaomiao, and you're still complaining about it?" Liu Kaoyu raged. "Should this vine be burned? Or should it be burned?" Cheng Qing remained unmoved, still lying quietly in the pot, pretending to play dead until his demands were met. Liu's eye was startled when the strange vine was talking. When she heard that they wanted the strange plant to show the way, disdain appeared on her face. "You are stupid. You actually asked it to show the way. There is no cave here. Isn't it obvious where the entrance is? Don't talk." Liu Kaoyu glared at her pink mecha unhappily. "My head hurts when I hear you talk," Liu Yifei said. "If Deputy Captain Liu knows where the entrance is, why not lead the way? I'll lead you, but I have a condition," Liu's eye said in a delicate voice. "Let Hongwen follow me and protect me." Lin Miaomiao, who was still taking pictures of the undamaged weeping willows by the pond, narrowed her eyes. This shameless guy hadn't given up yet. Should he squeeze her a few more times? The plan for a bank run was still budding in his mind when Liu Yifei spoke up. "Come on, Vice Captain Liu, you're just looking for an excuse to trick our boss into going with you. I have to say, your behavior is truly immature. Why are you so obsessed with being a mistress?" Liu Jin's face flushed with anger. The two men were unmarried, so what was wrong with her pursuing her own happiness? How could she be called a mistress? What about deception? The only place with an entrance that could possibly be hidden was this pool of water. Since they suspected it, then let's prove it with action. Glancing at the unfathomable pool, Liu Jin suppressed her fear, controlled the mecha to fly up, took a deep breath, and plunged in. "Zixi! What are you doing?" Liu Wan was shocked and furious. Too late to stop his daughter, he could only scold his subordinates. "You're dead men. The deputy captain has already gone in, and you're just standing there watching." Hearing this, Mengjia's crew members didn't hesitate and plunged into the water like dumplings. They didn't stop until 200 or 300 of them had gone down. The Shenyu crew just watched with a cold look. Even if they found the entrance and entered the underground palace first, it wouldn't be a big deal. A place worthy of being called a palace must be quite large. "Captain, should we send someone down to take a look?" Gu Qinghang asked over the main channel. Just for show, Yi Hongwen hadn't originally planned to send anyone down, but after hearing this, he agreed. "Luo Cheng and Yifei, go ahead. Safety is the priority. Make sure to stay in touch." The pool was bottomless, and it was hard to tell what was going on below. Naturally, caution was the best course of action. "Understood," the two named replied in unison. Luo and Liu carefully checked the GMX operating status, confirming it was operating properly. They then flew over the pool. Just as they were about to dive in, Cheng Qing, who had been playing dead, jumped up again. "Hey, are you guys really not considering getting me a bigger basin? I can help you avoid taking detours." Liu Yifei reacted quickly. "You mean there's no entrance down there? Then why haven't they come up after being down there for so long?" Cheng Qing remained silent again. As a persistent and persevering vine, it knew how to keep people on their toes. Could Zixi have encountered a water-based monster? Liu Wan, feeling a bad premonition, called out several times on Mengjia's main channel, but received no response. Suddenly, panic set in. So many team members went down with her, and no one responded. Something must have happened. He immediately gathered the remaining team members. "Let's go down and take a look. Just in case there's a powerful monster down there, we can save them." All of Mengjia's mechas had already descended. Yi Hongwen and Gu Qinghang were also discussing whether to join the mission. If anything happened to Mengjia's team members, they would be equally to blame. Needless to say, the outcome of the discussion was known. While Lin Miaomiao was absent-mindedly listening to the arrangements made by Yi Hongwen and the others, she locked her eyes on Chang Qing. With a vine that knew about the situation, why would she rush down to face the unknown? Controlling the mecha and walking towards the vine thrown on the ground, Lin Miaomiao said coldly, "Chang Qing, if I split you in half, will it become 2 living vines, bad guy? You actually want to dismember me?" Chang Qing instantly perked up, and the more than 2-meter-long vine shot straight up to the sky. "Wrong, you're not dead. How can you say it's dismemberment?" Lin Miaomiao felt very innocent. She had heard that a branch of a willow tree could survive if it was planted in fertile soil. She just wanted to study whether the vine could branch out that quickly. Though Chang Qing wasn't particularly strong, he possessed a strong sense of danger. After analyzing the pros and cons, he decisively surrendered. I say, having made his decision, Chang Qing readily surrendered. It turned out that beneath the pool lay a 5th-level mutant otter, whose combat power was slightly higher than that of ordinary 5th-level beasts due to its hypnotic ability. The mutant otter secreted a hallucinogenic fluid. If inhaled, the mind would become hazy, trapped in the very scene they most desired, becoming so engrossed in it that they refused to wake up. We have a shield when we enter the water in our mechas, so we won't be exposed to that fluid, right? Liu Kaoyer asked, puzzled. Stupid, it's air, Liu Yifei grumbled bluntly. Even in the water, you still need to breathe, right? While the mechas were equipped with oxygen exchange equipment, it was energy intensive and rarely activated except in space. Liu Kaoyer suddenly understood, but she did not thank him. Instead, she roared, Liu Yifei, how dare you disrespect your elders? Don't you think this over? Ever since the relationship was exposed, a certain woman simply gave up on herself and acted like an elder everywhere. Chapter 448, Fighting for the Passage. Knowing what was happening next, everyone stopped worrying about Mengjia's men. As long as the mutant otters were eliminated, they would naturally wake up. It was just a level 5 alien beast. With some precautions, it wouldn't be a big deal. Luo Cheng and Liu Yifei, who had been called out earlier, consciously cut off their mecha's external air supply, activated the internal switches, and prepared to enter the water. You said, they're dreaming. Wouldn't it be unfair for us to rescue them too early? Liu Yifei smirked. Should we go later? Come on, the mission's important. I don't have time to get angry with these fools, Luo Cheng warned him seriously. As a qualified soldier, you can't hold grudges, Liu Yifei frowned. He was just saying it casually, how could he really do that? Luo Cheng was exaggerating. However, the rest of his words sounded familiar, as if he had heard someone say something similar just now. Before he could figure it out, his friend had already plunged into the water with a splash. He could only chase after him while shouting, what's the rush? Wait for me. After the rescue duo got into the pool, Lin Miaomiao continued to interrogate the alien vine. Leniency to those who confess, severity to those who resist. Where exactly is the entrance to the underground palace? Everyone, the little cook's words were like interrogating a prisoner, full of domineering power, and no one knew where she learned it from. However, the prisoner Chang Qing seemed unable to feel the domineering power in the words, sobbing and saying, bad guy, you refused to agree when I wanted to change to a better nest, and you exploited my labor. It's really hard to be an alien planned. The sad voice of the boy was so miserable that a few drops of water oozed out of the top of the vine. If it weren't for the strange scene before their eyes, everyone would probably be soft-hearted. The veins on the heartless Lin Miaomiao's forehead twitched, and he said with a dull face, it's easy to change nests. Take us into the underground palace as soon as possible, eliminate the strange beasts inside, and then clear out the strange plants and beasts on the energy planet. Then we can return home, and there will be a large open space for you to play with. But I feel uncomfortable now, Chang Qing complained. This basin is too small. I clearly saw a bigger one in your kitchen. Bigger? Lin Miaomiao began to recall the scene of taking it to the kitchen to get a basin that day. Finally, he thought of the big pot on the energy stove, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. That was for cooking for everyone. How could he cook if he was given it? No, that's what we need. You only have two choices now, Lin Miaomiao announced ruthlessly. One is to cooperate obediently, and then we'll finish the mission and go home soon. The other is to resist to the end, and I'll help you try the division method, or even root division. The negotiations failed, and Chang Qing wisely chose to cooperate. I say, This was an era without the rights of alien plants. Changqing realized this with grief and indignation, and obediently pointed out the way. The entrance to the underground palace is not at the bottom of the cliff, but on the cliff face in the middle. Liu Gaoer, unable to win the argument with the alien plants, refused to hold Changqing. Lin Miaomiao scooped it up, pulling it up by the vines without even bending down. Ouch! Be careful with my roots. They're about to be torn off. Changqing winced in pain, reaffirming his choice. This little ancestor was truly ruthless, especially for alien plants like them. With Changqing's cooperation, Lin Miaomiao successfully found the switch between the two cliff faces. After a slight rumble, two square doors appeared on the cliff face, one large and one small. The larger one was 10 meters long and wide, while the smaller one was only about 5 or 6 meters, barely wide enough for a mecha to walk upright. Gu Qingheng's eyes darted back and forth, undecided, before he decisively pushed for a better answer. Captain, which way should we enter? Yi Hongwen didn't make a choice, but instead asked everyone, what do you think? The captain wanted to gather everyone's ideas, and the team members naturally spoke enthusiastically. Go through the main door. The large, edible monsters must be there. Go through the smaller one. The larger one is definitely home to more monsters, so the smaller one is safer. Who said there are fewer monsters in the smaller door? What if there are social monsters like blood-sucking ants, black mist bees, or moles? This team member's speculation was immediately met with boos. Are you stupid? We already said monsters below level 3 won't enter the underground palace. In the end, they agreed to enter through the smaller door. Why? The psychics who built the underground palace all died in a bloodbath. Perhaps some things were left behind in their places of residence. Important figures all had dedicated passages, otherwise they wouldn't have built 2 entrances. After selecting the entrance, no one forgot to enter the underground palace, but waited for Meng Jia's men to land. There were 2 entrances, but they were definitely interconnected. If they went in with such a small group, they would probably be surrounded by the monstrous beasts. Half an hour later, Luo Cheng and Liu Yifei were the first to surface, cursing as they flew over to their teammates. Damn, that damn otter. It's clearly the only one, yet it dug so many holes underwater, some of which are interconnected. We spent ages searching for it, and finally had to destroy the entrances one by one before we caught it. Fan Lei quipped, aren't you afraid of burying yourself alive while destroying the passages? How could I make such a stupid mistake? Liu Yifei said proudly, then glanced at the 2 doors. Is this the entrance to the underground palace? Let's go in and take a look. Without even asking which way to enter, he dashed towards the larger door, only to be stopped halfway. Wait! Don't go in yet. The speaker was Liu Wan, who had just emerged from the pool, and the rest of Meng Jia followed him out. Captain Liu has woken up from his sweet dream, Gu Qingheng said gently. We are still planning to go in and explore the way first. Ahem. Liu Wan cleared his throat awkwardly. I just needed Shen Yu's help, and Meng Jia doesn't know how to thank me. Why don't you leave the exploration to us? He said thank you, but actually wanted to rush into the underground palace first. Gu Qingheng was disdainful in his heart, but smiled and said, how can I be so embarrassed? You are all tired after going into the pool. Liu Wan couldn't help but feel embarrassed and angry when he was repeatedly reminded of what happened just now, and his tone became not so good. Your fleet has too few personnel? I'm afraid you can't cope with it if you go in. We can't stay outside with peace of mind. Don't argue, go in together. Yi Hongwen interrupted them coldly. There are 2 doors here, and we will split into 2 groups and go our separate ways. This does sound good, but Liu Wan was still unwilling to give up. Who knows if there might be any treasures left in the underground palace, so he said hypocritically, it's not impossible, but you have too few people. I'm afraid we can't handle it, otherwise I'll let Zixi bring some people with you. No need, I don't like vases who rely on relationships to climb up. Tell her to stay away from me, Yi Hongwen said very disrespectfully. Sometimes giving too much face to others will hurt yourself. Yi Hongwen had suffered, so he would not do such a stupid thing again. Liu Wan and his daughter were both furious, but they couldn't explode. After all, Shen Yu had just saved them, so they could only swallow their anger and said, in that case, let's Meng Jia go through this big door. There are probably more exotic beasts here, Yi Hongwen said indifferently. It's up to you. Chapter 449, First Entering the Underground Palace. Liu Wan fought for the permission to enter through the big gate. As if afraid that Yi Hongwen would go back on his word, he walked in forcefully, regardless of his team members who were still not fully conscious. "Hey, why is it like this?" Liu Yifei muttered unhappily. "These ungrateful wolves, we saved them in vain." Yi Hongwen was speechless. "Okay, don't you see how many of us there are? Actually, before you two came back, we had already chosen to go through the small gate." Fan Lei laughed. "It's a good thing they chose another passage themselves, otherwise we would have to argue again. Let's go." "If we don't go in now, what if they are so numerous and quickly clean up the monsters?" Gu Qingheng reminded. "We also have to prevent Mengjia's people from going back on their word." After thinking about it, everyone felt the same and no longer had the heart to stand here and chat. They drove their mechas into the passage with a main force. After the Shenyu team entered, the 8 members of the assessment team faced a choice. Should they follow Mengjia or Shenyu? If they followed Mengjia, they'd be outnumbered, making them negligible and gaining little advantage. If they followed Shenyu, any alien beasts they killed wouldn't be theirs. "Leader, let's go with Shenyu," Li Enhe said. His reasoning was simple. If we follow them and encounter any antique artifacts, we might get some benefits. Following Mengjia might just. His reasoning was simple. The assessment team had been forced to accompany the fleet on this mission, so they had to get some benefits. Alien beasts were secondary. The artifacts left behind by the supernatural beings from thousands of years ago were the most important. Xunyu, who had already been pondering this question, immediately descended the ladder upon hearing this. "Let's go. We'll be out of reach soon." After the 8 mechas entered the small passage, a massive stone door suddenly crashed down, blocking their escape route. "What the hell? How are we going to get out?" Tianzihan frantically exclaimed. "Stop arguing here," Xunyu barked impatiently. "Whatever mechanism enters, there's another one to exit. We haven't eliminated all the monsters inside yet. What's the point of your haste?" Tianzihan had only been startled and cursed subconsciously. Unexpectedly, he'd be scolded by his leader, so he didn't dare retort. However, he recalled the events of the previous few days, and his resentment intensified. The assessment team accelerated in pursuit, but Shenyu and the others walked cautiously. The situation ahead was unknown, and they preferred to move slowly rather than rush forward recklessly. They were walking along a mossy, blue brick passage. Leading the way was Black Lotus, atop its head a bulb twice the size of an adult's fist. The soft light illuminated the area about 100 meters in front and behind its mecha. The mechas behind them hadn't activated their energy lights. In this passage, which barely allowed 2 mechas to move side by side, they simply followed the footsteps of their teammates in front. After about 2 kilometers, the passage turned right, revealing another passage paved with blue bricks. The difference was that the ground and walls of this passage were moss-free. It was spotless, as if someone regularly cleaned it. "This passage is so comfortable," Liu Yifei breathed a sigh of relief. The mossy passage just now had looked eerie. "Yifei, there must be strange beasts here. If you feel comfortable here, you can lead the charge later," Fan Lei said, unkindly. "Okay, it's just the lead. Such a straight passage wouldn't hide strange beasts, and with my strength, nothing will happen," Liu Yifei said dismissively. How powerful could a strange beast lying in wait in a passage be? With that, he actually ran forward to take Yi Hongwen's place, striding forward at the front to clear the way. Liu Yifei had just finished speaking when he encountered a strange beast. As he walked to the third turn, a green mutant mantis waved its 2 sword-like front legs and chopped at the head of his mecha. Why is this mantis 2 or 3 meters long after mutation? Liu Yifei couldn't believe his eyes. "I've never seen one this big before." Luo Cheng was helpless. "Idiot. The previous one was just a 2nd-level mutant mantis, and this detector shows it is at least 4th level. It's obviously an upgraded version. Gosh, it's a miracle that a simple-minded beast like the mutant mantis can advance." Liu Yifei praised in an aria. "This mantis is very inspiring," Yi Hongwen said impatiently. "Even you can advance. It's not normal for it to advance. Clean it up quickly. We have to keep moving forward." He was actually compared with a mantis. Liu Yifei suffered 10,000 points of damage in an instant, and rushed towards the mutant mantis with a roar. "It's all your fault. It's just a 4th-level beast. I'm a 5th-level mecha master." Unconsciously, Liu Yifei also compared himself with a mutant mantis and didn't react at all. A 4th-tier beast was merely an appetizer for a 5th-tier mecha master, one that could easily have been dealt with. However, a certain idiot, his mind clouded by the blow, didn't want to deal with it quickly and decisively, instead dismembering it from the forelimbs. The entire scene was a scene of unparalleled bloodshed. Liu Yifei's bloody and violent actions drew unanimous protests from all the female team members, especially his great-aunt Liu Gaoer, who cried out that it was shameful to have such a violent nephew. The Liu family's ancestors are all ashamed. Accused of violence, Liu Yifei showed no remorse and instead seized the opportunity to protest. I was exhausted rescuing someone from the pool just now. You shouldn't have asked me to clear the way. By the way, Lazy seems quite relaxed. Why don't you clear the way, Fen? That bastard didn't think he'd be able to recognize you just by pretending to speak in a high-pitched female voice. If you wanted to take advantage of the chaos to smear him, you'd have to agree. Fan Lei wasn't panicked after being caught. He leisurely walked to the front and took over the scout's position. From time to time, a 4th or 5th level alien beast would pounce on them, but they were all torn apart by the people walking in front. After several times in a row, everyone was a little depressed. Every time, there are only 1 or 2 alien beasts, and it's not enough for us to share. If there are hundreds or thousands of alien beasts here, as Cheng Qing said, I'm afraid we will devour them all, Liu Yifei said angrily. I should have refused reinforcements, idiot. Can you be quiet? Luo Cheng stared at the flashing life detector with a grim expression. Boss, there are many and diverse signs of life here. The number of alien beasts doesn't seem to match Cheng Qing's description. Just ask it and you'll know, Yi Hongwen said calmly. Liu Yifei immediately ran to Aoxu and said in a muffled voice, Poor Vine, are you kidding us? We've detected hundreds of exotic beasts nearby. Cheng Qing shook the end of the vine and replied tenderly, I don't know either. I've only been here once, and the number of exotic beasts was told by a talkative mutant parrot. Gu Qingheng had a bad feeling. When did you come in? Cheng Qing thought for a moment, probably over 900 years ago. After the exotic beast king discovered that I had activated my intelligence, he wanted to make sure I could help the exotic beasts climb up and down the cliff without worrying about it. Everyone. Chapter 450, The Mutated Parrot with a Bad Mouth. Having been inadvertently tricked by a strange vine, the Shenyu group was momentarily stunned. Yi Hongwan recovered quickly and quickly contacted Liu Wan to inform them of the situation, only to learn that his message was already too late. Meng Jia, with her powerful presence, charged forward at full speed, quickly alerting the king of strange beasts. They were now surrounded. Initially, they relied on their numbers, but later discovered that their intelligence was incorrect, with 2,000 to 3,000 strange beasts surrounding them. Ignoring Meng Jia's curses on Shenyu and the assessment team after realizing they had been tricked, the Shenyu group finally reached the end of the passage after turning 7 or 8 corners. They stood at the foot of a steep bluestone staircase. Looking down, they could see there were thousands of steps. The bluestone steps were about 5 meters wide, each one narrow, less than a third the size of a mech's foot. Due to years of neglect, many were broken and falling apart. A human could walk carefully, but a mech couldn't. Fortunately, flying was still convenient these days. Fan Lei, without waiting for the captain and deputy captain's orders, led the way down. As they rounded the bend, they were met by a mutant parrot with blue-purple feathers, more than half a man's height. The parrot had originally come to attack anyone who dared to invade its territory, but upon seeing the hundreds of iron men approaching, it wisely turned and fled. Fan Lei and the others, realizing it was a bird, didn't bother chasing it. Even if the monk could escape, the temple couldn't. And in the underground palace, how could they possibly miss another opportunity to deal with it? Just as the mutant parrot was about to fly away from everyone, Cheng Qing, who was lying weakly in the basin, suddenly became energetic, shook his vines and stood up straight, shouting in a shrill boy's voice, Stinky parrot, stop right there, you actually gave me false information. There are obviously more than 1,000 alien beasts here. The stupid Cheng Qing didn't understand at all that with the passage of time, the alien beasts in the underground palace were no longer as small as before. After all, alien beasts can reproduce and thrive just like humans. They are not like it that occupied the entire cliff and did not allow other vines to have a chance to grow. When the mutant parrot heard the cry of the alien vine, its body shook, and its wings could not move. It almost fell to the ground. After barely keeping its balance in the air, it did not care about escaping, turned around and cursed, Cheng Qing, you traitor, a big traitor, you deserve a bad death, you actually betrayed the alien beast king. What do you mean by betrayal? Cheng Qing said disapprovingly. I was forced by it to help. If it doesn't die, how can I get freedom? What's the point of freedom? You're just daydreaming all day long. You might as well focus on cultivation, the mutant parrot scoffed. If he'd had the time for that idle thought, he could probably reach level 7. Besides, it's an honor to serve the Beast King. The alien plant's cultivation method was faster, and since Changqing occupied the cliff, there were no other plants competing for nutrients. If he practiced diligently, advancement was inevitable. Unfortunately, Changqing's practice was constantly interrupted by the alien beasts ascending and descending the cliff. He wasn't one to tolerate solitude. After nearly 1,000 sessions, he still lingered at the peak of level 6, unable to reach level 7. Stinky parrot, advancement isn't as easy as you say, Changqing glared fiercely. He had originally wanted to warn the parrot to run away, considering it often came to chat with him, but now there was no need. After thinking secretly for a while, Changqing shouted, "Bad guy, don't let it run away." The stinky parrot is a know-it-all in the underground palace and knows a lot about things here. "Oh, I see," Lin Miaomiao responded calmly. Fan Lei and others had already pounced over and surrounded the mutant parrot. The mutant parrot was very smart. When it was chatting with Changqing, it was not chased and killed. It knew that humans had intentionally let it go, so it was not on guard. Who knew that it was sold in front of people and was caught in a hurry? It was so angry that it cursed, "You bastard, you traitor. You will not die well, it's so noisy." Lin Miaomiao thought the parrot was pretty at first, and it would be nice to catch it and play with it, but the parrot was too noisy, so she was unhappy. "If you make any more noise, I will pluck your feathers. For every word you curse, I will pluck one and use it to make a parrot feather duster." The mutant parrot was horrified. "Bad guy. Big bad guy. You actually want to pluck my feathers? So annoying. I don't know if it's because the bird's quality is too bad. Ordinary parrots have clear voices, but this parrot's voice is hoarse and unpleasant, and the way it speaks is very coquettish, which makes people get goosebumps." Lin Miaomiao, already accustomed to being called a villain by the strange vines, snorted softly and decided to confirm their claims. Since they hadn't called her a villain, they might as well let them feel it. Immediately, she piloted Aoksu close to the mutant parrot and scratched its back with her claws, instantly pulling out several feathers. The mech's hands were too large, making it difficult to grab just a single feather even with the utmost care. The pain caused the mutant parrot to scream, "Ouch! That hurts." "We agreed to pull them out one by one, but the bad guys just don't keep their word. I'm so sorry, it's a little hard to control," Lin Miaomiao said half-heartedly. "How about we try again?" However, the parrot was actually female, and its voice was so broken. Could it be from cursing the beast too hard? "No more fun, no more scolding," the mutant parrot immediately admitted. "Can't I just shut up?" The mutant parrot wanted to shut up, but Luo Chang, who was holding it, wouldn't agree. Changqing said it knew everything about the underground palace, so wouldn't it be better to let it lead the way? "Well, it's too late to shut up now. You'd better just show us the way," Luo Chang asked carelessly. "Are there many strange beasts here? How many strange beasts are blocking the way behind you? Since I'm in your hands, you can kill me or cut me up as you like." The mutant parrot was very loyal. "I won't betray my brothers." Lin Miaomiao immediately stretched out his hand. "Then let's continue playing the feather plucking game and see if you will faint or die from the pain." The loyal mutant parrot was wilted. It was not afraid of death, but was afraid of torture. Changqing said lazily, "Fork, don't be so stubborn. As a vegetarian monster, you still hang out with that broken snake. Aren't you afraid that it will bite you on a whim one day?" Fork. Lin Miaomiao was embarrassed. Could that be its name? "It is its name." Changqing became excited when he mentioned this. "Its brothers and sisters are all your human tableware, knives, spoons, chopsticks, tongs." Lin Miaomiao was dizzy. "Tongs don't seem to be tableware. Why not? Isn't it said that you have to use tongs to eat some delicious food?" Changqing was very excited. "These are all mentioned in my inherited memory. It's no use for you to deny it." Lin Miaomiao, but she really couldn't remember what tongs could be used to eat. The mutant parrot Fork, whose name had been discussed for a long time, finally couldn't stand it anymore. "You two idiots, how can you discuss my name for so long? Can't I lead the way?" "Okay," Lin Miaomiao agreed very readily, "but before that, let me pluck a few hairs from you to cure your bad habit of talking nonsense." "Ah, the parrot is dead, help." End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, Every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.